I tune to my TV show. No better way, I gotta get myself into gear. Let's go. Oh, and I feel good today with my wake up in the morning espresso. I feel good today. It's my feel good breakfast show.
Yes, a lot of wooing going on this morning.
Just give us a little more.
Sorry.
Give us a little more, please.
Sorry, man, I was opening my shirt a little bit. Very briefly, just stop it. Stop it. Whoo.
Gee whiz,
Oh, my word.
Wow.
So
I was going to call this a Health Tuesday, but whoo-wee, it's a hot Tuesday this morning. Welcome to it. Welcome, my brother.
Hello, hello.
Love you,
Look,
guys.
I like your this is...
Hey, I am tropical, okay?
Yes.
I feel it this morning. No, we are a feel-good breakfast show. We love it. We are a springboard into the rest of the day, but some days, sometimes, we just don't feel so good, man.
Oh, yeah, it happens, you know, and I think it's good to actually, you know, sort of comment. And you do that. You know the great thing about G, this man over here, if he's not having a good day, you'll hear about it. But it's really great for mental health. And the thing is, if you think about, you know, the backaches that you've been through the most. You've gone to these doctors or these sort of therapists. And you're like, yesterday they stuck like 5 needles in my back. And you're like, well, what are you doing, brother? But it's for relief, right?
You got to try, man. And the crazy thing is, as I've been on this 2-year journey of kind of rehab after my back op, I've met so many people on the same journey. I think it's part of the human condition. So if, like me, you have to psych yourself up every time you stand up or sit down, if your children have started standing up going, oh, just to copy you.
Oh, my
every time you get up, okay? If you need a little extra support every now and then, don't worry, you're not alone. We all experience some kind of back issue, and this morning we're going to bring in the experts. We've got 2 phenomenal chiropractors, Dr. Marnie Kruger and Dr. Kevin Lenton, who have hopefully a few answers
They'll have answers. So it's safe to say that on your Feel Good Breakfast Show, we've got your back.
Ooh, I'm loving that a lot. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Tuesday, the 11th of October, 2022, as we welcome you to a brand new day. Katahamaboe reporting for duty. We're live, large and in charge on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. And look at that. That is probably our most iconic image of 2022, you know? Ex-ambassadors that we had last week on the show. And Graham just, everybody say it with me. Ooh. Okay, so with that, we ask you on social media, do you suffer from neck or back pain? And have you ever suffered a severe neck or back injury? Granted, Graham did not suffer any severe injuries, but we want to hear your stories as we discuss spine health on this Health Tuesday on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. We would love for you to join in on the conversation via voice note on 063-408-8863. Of course, hashtag Expresso Show when interacting with us on social media. We would love to hear from you, especially if you have any, maybe some tips or some advice for the likes of Graham on how to better take care of his back and not to be falling over that way, man. What was that? What was that, Graham? We'll find out maybe a little bit later on. Right now, let's take a look at what's happening in the world of news. Here's Carl.
Thanks a lot, Kat. Let's take a peek now. Starting with national headlines, the Deputy President of the South African Transport and Allied Workers Union, Kokete Sepohane, says it's unfortunate that the Transnet strike will have a devastating impact on the economy. The union is seeking a wage increase of between 12 and 13%, while Transnet is offering just 3%. Meanwhile, the Western Cape Minister of Finance and Economic Opportunities, Muriel Wenger, has said that Transnet's continuity plans have to be fully implemented in order for ports and container terminals to continue with their operations. Meanwhile, President Cyril Ramaphosa has highlighted the importance of early childhood development centres in his weekly letter to his nation. He says they provide many valuable services, including educating very young children, providing childcare for working parents, creating jobs, particularly for women, and providing opportunities for entrepreneurs. This follows his visit to Bizana in the Eastern Cape, where he officially opened the Little Flower Early Childhood Development Centre, which the development organisation Impande SA had built with the support of the Nelson Mandela Foundation. On to international news. Results from Friday's parliamentary election in Lesotho have seen a recently founded party led by a millionaire diamond magnate winning the highest number of seats. Sam Matakane's Revolution for Prosperity Party won 56 seats, and the All Basotho Convention Party, which led the outgoing government, won only 8 of the country's 120 seats. Mr. Matakane is highly regarded in business circles, having made his money in the diamond, construction and transport industries. But it's his philanthropy that the people of Lesotho took notice of, especially in the last few years. Now, traveling further abroad, North Korea says its recent barrage of missile launches were a simulation of a nuclear attack on South Korea. This, as intelligence reports suggest, North Korea is preparing to carry out its first nuclear weapon test in 5 years. In recent weeks, Pyongyang has launched 7 sets of missiles in response to US and South Korea drills. Yesterday, North Korean state media published extensive reports claiming the missiles were designed to carry nuclear weapons. They also claimed to have successfully simulated hitting South Korea's military bases, ports and airports. Now, a Sedgefield-based charity, Masitandane, held its 6th annual Garden Route Kite Festival at Karatara near Knysna this weekend, and it was a true celebration of being outdoors and flying kites regardless of age, ability or disability. It also fell on the same day as an international event where kites were launched for peace around the world. In addition to the kite launch, there was also a dog show and children's activities for families and their furry friends. Masitandane chairperson Jackie Weaver said the main aim of the day was to raise funds for a worthy cause. She said, and I quote, "Funds are needed for our scholarship fund because we have children who live in Sedgefield where there's no high school. They have to travel all the way to either Knysna or George. Currently, the fund supports 32 children studying at high school and also lends a hand with toiletries, boarding fees, and so on." Thus, all agreed, flying a kite is actually a good way to take your eyes off your cell phone screen and enjoy the fresh air and beautiful sights in the sky. That's a wrap-up of your news desk for now. Another update in 1 hour. Let's wait for G to get us back into sport.
Well, let's start with one of the strongest backs in the business. In fact, Springbok and Stormers prop Stephen Kitsoff is believed to be close to confirming a deal with Irish club Ulster. So according to Irish website Independent IE, Kitsoff has already, quote, agreed terms to join Ulster after the 2023 Rugby World Cup. Kitsoff is contracted to the Stormers up until 2024, but a source says that the URC champions will probably not stand in the 30-year-old's way if he wants to be relieved from his contract earlier. Kitsoff, of course, captained the Stormers to the URC title last season. Really is a phenomenal player. Then on to football. Really not the kind of news we want to report on. Enoch Mwepu has been forced to end his playing career following the diagnosis of a hereditary heart condition. The condition, which can worsen over time, would put the Zambian at an extremely high risk of suffering a potentially fatal cardiac event if he were to continue playing competitive football. Mwepu had recently fallen ill on a trip with Zambia's national team to Mali. The 24-year-old was unable to train after arriving in West Africa last month and then spent 4 days in hospital as a result. He had tests on his return to England and Brighton, and the results meant that the only option was sadly for him to retire. Heartbreaking news there. Then on to Formula One, we expected a little spice to be added to the announcement of our world champion, and Red Bull have been found guilty of breaking Formula One's budget cap by the sports governing body, the FIA. So Red Bull exceeded the $145 million limit during 2021. The FIA has now confirmed, adding that the offence was, quote, minor, the lower of the 2 categories of breach. Now, this means the team exceeded the cap by less than 5%, or around $7.25 million. Both Red Bull and Aston Martin were also found guilty of procedural breach of that cap. The FIA said it was, quote, currently determining the appropriate course of action to be taken. Then returning to a story I think, well, fans of golf and non-fans have loved watching unfold this entire season as we hone in on the LIV Tour. And it looks like 2-time major winner Dustin Johnson has now pocketed the $18 million prize purse after securing the inaugural LIV Golf Individual Championship. Organisers of the Breakaway Tour announced this on Monday. Now, the American has had 5 top 10 finishes in the opening 6 events of the Saudi-backed series, including a dramatic win at the LIV Golf Invitational in Boston. The 38-year-old finished 16th at the Bangkok tournament, which ended on Sunday, and now has an insurmountable lead in the individual standings with 1 regular season event remaining. He ain't complaining. I doubt any of the golfers in the tour are complaining. I'm sure it's going to be back for another run, but that's where we leave our sport for this hour. We'll touch on those headlines again at around 7 o'clock. Let's bring you up to speed with the weather right now.
Thanks a lot, G. Let's take a peek at the weather for you in your Feel Good Breakfast Show, starting with weather news. The mercury is expected to rise significantly in the days ahead. This as the South African Weather Service has warned that a heat wave with persistently high temperatures is expected in the low veld of Mpumalanga as well as Limpopo from tomorrow until Friday. Meanwhile, the United Nations, the UN, and the Red Cross has said yesterday that the heat waves would become so extreme in certain regions of the world within decades that human life there would be unsustainable. Extreme heat waves are predicted in the Sahel, the Horn of Africa, and South and Southwest Asia, triggering large-scale suffering and loss of life. In a joint report, the UN and the Red Cross warned that heat wave catastrophes this year in countries such as Somalia and Pakistan foreshadow a future with deadlier, more frequent and more intense heat-related humanitarian emergencies. The UN and the Red Cross have released the report in advance of next month's UN's COP27 climate change summit in Egypt. Now, from heat waves to sunrise views, Mlangeni from Ladysmith sent this one in first this morning. A beautiful view from her back garden of the bold sun lighting up the sky. Owen out in Port Nolloth shared the spectacular view of the wispy clouds overlooking the ocean. Yolandi Ratha captured this beam of light peeking through the trees out in Brackenhurst, Johannesburg, before heading out to work. Trevor Viljoen, good morning to you from Alberton Albert Falls, I should say, snapped this beautiful, phenomenal mirror-like photo of the radiant indigo hues glowing up the horizon. That's almost unbelievable. And last up, we have Sharon Pilari, who sent in her beautiful view, still water, whilst enjoying some holiday time, taking in the breathtaking views we have in this beautiful world. And of course, this one's actually out in Qatar, which is where the World Cup will be hosted very, very soon. So great to see some international sunrise images. Keep them coming. 063-408-8863. We'd love to see yours as you take a peek at your temperatures throughout the day. It looks like some warm temperatures to be expected, so let's take a peek for you. Polokwane, 14, rising to 32. Bombela, 17 to 33 degrees today. Pretoria, you can expect 15 as your minimum, but you rise to 32 degrees Celsius, and then 14 jumping to 30 for Johannesburg. Maya King, good morning to you. 17 is your minimum as you wake up this morning. 32 is how you thaw out. Klerksdorp, you can enjoy a 34-degree day from a low of 16. Now, Kimberley, you're quite hot today. 35, shining bright like a diamond as you always do, but do keep hydrated in that area. 20 is the minimum. Bloemfontein, 13, rising to 33. Now in Richards Bay, 31 is your maximum temperature today. 23 is your low. Pietermaritzburg, you top at 34 from low of 18. Durban, 29 is your high from a low of 21 degrees Celsius. Mthatha, 15 to a very hot 36 degrees Celsius today. East London looking good, 19 to 33. Cradock, 13 to 36. Gqeberha, you've got 17 on the cards, up to 27. And George, you've got 15 on the cards as you rise this morning, 23 this afternoon. Cape Town, 15 up to 22. Worcester looking a bit warmer with 32 as your high from a low of 12. Sutherland, 11 to 27. And then Uppington, yes, you guessed it, 22 is your low, and you rise to 39 degrees Celsius. So make sure you stay hydrated, find some shade today, and of course, keep it locked to your Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Yeah, the weather is warming up, Mr. Wasty, and of course it is hashtag Tuesday, so I do need your help a little bit to help me slide into summer with one of these stylish looks. So take a look. This over here is option number 1, which is a pair of coral foliage printed swim shorts paired with a plain t-shirt and made with breathable cotton, and then a pair of slides to match. Very kind of relaxed look over here. And then here is option number 2, a pair of mid-length swim shorts that are stylish, very practical, you know, a bit of detail here, nothing too fancy, but they're paired up with a stone-colored t-shirt and then palm-printed shirt and then those army green slip-slops. So which option do you think I should go with for today? Of course, summer is here, and of course, you'll want to embrace the heat with comfortable looks designed to look stylish. So head on over to our Expresso social media pages to vote for your favorite look. And of course, don't forget to include hashtag Style by Woolies.
I've been vibing, yeah. Me and my folks all good, that sun is shining. Chillin' with my feet kicked up like I ain't trying. Yeah. This is what I want on summer, yeah. Gangs all here, let's run it, yeah. This is what I want on summer, yeah. Gangs all here, let's run it, yeah. Vibes right here, 100, yeah.
Only you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you beautiful souls. This is our health focus here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show, and hopefully you're feeling good this morning. If not, let's see what we can do about it. World Spine Day has been, I don't know if the right word, celebrated. It's been commemorated since 2012, with October the 16th of this year marking the 11th official World Spine Day. Now, this day highlights the burden of spinal pain and disability around the world, with health professionals, exercise and rehabilitation experts, public health advocates, school children, patients all taking part. This is a global movement, and here to tell us more about the day itself and spine health in general are chiropractors Dr. Marnie Kruger and Dr. Kevin Langton. Guys, welcome back.
Thank you.
Great to have you here. You got your day, and I'm glad that you... Did we give him a name last time?
Friend.
Friend. Okay. Friend. And he is a friend, because our spine is our friend. But welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having us.
I feel like a good place to start is that, you know, the social media has dominated our opinions of what a chiropractor is. I mean, I'm sure all I see is those videos of the... and I'm thinking, okay, is this thing even safe? So let's talk about what a chiropractor actually does. And I mean, either one of you can take this. In fact, ladies first, doctor, a chiropractor.
So, chiropractic is a health professional that's concerned with conditions that are considered neuromusculoskeletal.
Yeah.
So that big word just means that we deal with people with pain and problems with their muscles, joints, and nerves. So chiropractic is considered safe. It's one of the safest drug-free, non-invasive treatments. And we've got a pretty good track record in terms of safety, but no intervention is completely risk-free.
Yeah.
But most of the adverse events reported would be kind of like a little bit stiff and sore for around about 48 hours after the treatment. But most patients will consider feeling very good after the treatments that we provide.
Relief. Just a moment of relief. That's what we want.
Yeah.
Kevin, I'm going to put this out there because I've seen many chiropractors in my journey. So I had a back op 2 years ago, as we know, and it's been this crazy kind of pain management journey since then because my nerves been impacted. One thing I do know is you operate within this ecosystem where no person is the same, no journey is the same, no spine is the same. How do we then know who the right person to speak to is? How should we engage with our chiropractor? When we meet with you guys, what do we have kind of lined up in terms of our questions, and how do we start this process with you guys?
Yeah, great question. And I think the first thing to know is that we train for 6 years to understand the anatomy, physiology, how the body works, the nervous systems. We do have more than one nervous system. So the bottom line is that our primary focus is to make a differential diagnosis. That means we need to figure out what is a chiropractic problem and what isn't a chiropractic problem. Most of what we see, what patients come to us with, are spine syndromes, spine pain syndromes. That's what brings them in. And then our real focus is to decide, do we need to refer this patient out because there are certain what we refer to as red flags, things that really highlight and pop up as being a dangerous condition. There are certain things like bladder and bowel dysfunction, for example, together with your back pain or neck pain, various loss of function, so muscles that just don't work anymore because there's entrapment of nerves and pressure on nerves. Those are not that common, surprisingly. Most of what we see are related to mechanical strain, sprain, overuse, repetitive type of activities.
Lifestyle, basically.
Lifestyle, especially over the last while. Everybody has been doing different things and working differently. Yeah. So basically, we make that differential diagnosis, and most patients then fall into a chiropractic kind of domain, and we then use various techniques. We see lots of different patients from very young, days old in fact, to very old, even into their 90s. My current oldest patient is 96 years old. So obviously you can't do the same thing to everybody. So we have different techniques, which makes it applicable to anybody. Anybody can have chiropractic care, whether you have had spinal operations before, have had various conditions linked to your spine, and then we tailor our treatment protocols to suit the patient. It's not a one-size-fits-all at all.
And then you walk that journey together. I think
Yes.
that is key. It's a journey. It's not an end result. You're constantly moving forward. I've been blown away by how many people have experienced some measure of back pain and also how debilitating it can actually be. In fact, in my case, it felt like waking up in somebody else's body. The joy is you can be proactive, you can enhance, you can protect, you can improve your spine health, and that's what we're going to do right now.
Absolutely, Mr. Richards, thank you very much. Now, back disorders are one of the leading causes of disability, and they gradually develop when micro-trauma of the back accumulates from repetitive damaging activity over time. And as Graham said right now, we're about to be proactive. We're looking at ways to prevent this, and we've got Dr. Michele Vidzaghi, who's back to show us some key preventative exercises. Looking forward to exploring this with you, sir. How are you?
Good in yourself. It's good to be back.
Excellent, excellent. Let's get right into it, shall we? Put our backs into it.
You know, that's probably, like you say, the first thing that should probably be mentioned is that spine health is, you know, it's such an important part of our lives. And it's not only these small preventative exercises that we do in isolation, but like what we do throughout the entire day. Ergonomics, the way we sit, our posture, all contribute to spine health. But one way that I found to activate your spine, to get yourself ready for the day, first thing in the morning is just to do a few stretches.
Okay.
Prevention is all about mobility and strengthening of the core. So what I like to do is when I get up,
First thing in the morning. So if you're waking up right now, this is the first thing you're doing right now.
So what's really nice, these are all slow and controlled movements. So what's nice is you just kind of activate your shoulders and you just bring it down slowly from the top of your spine, activating the entire rear chain all the way down until you're actually activating, like in the hamstring gluteal area. You come all the way down, you feel a nice stretch.
That stretch in the hamstring.
And then you just rotate the spine all the way back.
So you're literally letting your neck hang and come up slowly.
It's kind of like you want to go vertebrae by vertebrae all the way down. And you can repeat that process 5 times. Obviously, we won't do that now. But you can do that in the morning 5 to 6 times should be really good.
Feel that stretch, especially, you know, after being in bed for the entire evening. Muscles might be a bit tense, depending on how you were sleeping.
Exactly. So after that, when you come down the last time, you can activate and you can go into the sort of tabletop position. And this is a really good, safe position for your back. This is how you sort of, your baseline position, and you can always come back to this position when you are doing the stretches. So what I like to do is, they call them cat-cows, and what's happening here is that you're actually
I think I've heard of those.
Flexing and sort of hyper-extending and flexing the back, and it's a really slow movement. Probably won't see it so nicely there, but what you do is you hyper-extend and you kind of look up to the ceiling with the lower back flexing, extending nicely. And then what you do is you look down and you sort of camel it up. And this is a really slow, controlled movement, but you can kind of feel your spine activating, and it's a really safe way to sort of activate the whole rear chain. Really nice, slow movement to start.
And you're building core strength while you're doing it as well, because when you go into that back extension, kind of cameling it out, like you're saying.
You're activating the entire sort of abdominal core area.
It has to contract inward.
Exactly. So from here, when you've done your cat-cows, what I like to do is add a little bit of a rotational element. So your spine is all about flexion, extension, and rotation, sort of 3-dimensional plane.
Flex, extension, rotation.
Rotation. So what we do here is you take your right arm or left arm, whichever you want to start with, just flex it up. You look up to the ceiling, look up to your upper hand, and just rotate that spine as much as you can, keeping that hand flat on the ground and trying to keep your core kind of steady. And then you come back down again.
Wow. Okay, that's a stretch that I have not felt in a while.
Cool. And you can repeat it on the other side. Nice. You can only feel that rotation in the lower spine.
Yep.
Good, and just slow and steady. Obviously, if you have pain during any of these exercises, I'd recommend that you probably stop and sort of explore other avenues. So you don't want to work through pain. You will feel some stiffness, but you never want to work through pain.
Okay.
All right,
Great
so
advice.
the point of stretching is not to put yourself through pain. It's a sort of relaxation and preventative strategy.
Yeah, first thing in the morning. Ooh.
Cool. From here, what I like to do is we've done sort of the posterior facing or downward facing exercise. You can come onto your back as well.
All right. So with the previous one, would you be doing about 5 repetitions on each side of that?
I generally say if you're doing it first thing in the morning, 5 to 6 repetitions of each one is fine, just to activate that spine and sort of, you know, get yourself ready for the day.
Good stuff.
Cool. So then, obviously, abdominal or core strengthening is a big part of spine prevention. So what I do for that is you can come lying on your back, extend your legs straight, whatever's comfortable for you.
Yep.
Get your legs up into the sort of fully extended region there. And once you're here, just really slowly, you can lower one leg at a time. So you're activating that core, stretching the spine out. And, then
And the hamstrings as well.
Exactly, and you come straight back up.
Everything connected to
Exactly.
your back.
And you can feel the core engaging. You can kind of feel your lower back loosening out a little bit. Very nice. Again, 5 to 6 repetitions per leg.
That's great. And it's actually very relaxing. I mean, you obviously you're taking a little bit of strain with tightening the core, but thereafter,
exactly,
when all the muscles are relaxed, you kind of feel the sensation of blood coursing through your muscles, and that's beautiful.
Exactly. From there, feet back planted, steady.
Yep.
Heels, palms, everything on the floor. And once you're here, we have to engage the core again. This is more of a core exercise, but I always say with spines, strengthening of the core, conditioning of the core is all about preventing back health.
Yeah.
Or back dishealth. So what we do from here, what I like to do is add another rotational element. So we're going to do a crunch into seated, and we're just going to rotate the spine and extend the arm.
Oh, lovely.
Come down, back into lying.
All right, and
crunch up again.
Other side.
And the other side.
Okay, oh, feel that. Did you hear that click? There's a bit of a click somewhere there. I think that was my cue that we need to take a quick ad break before we continue doing this. And of course, we're focusing on spine health, the health of your back, how to maintain it, in this case, how to prevent any cause of injury by keeping yourself strong and healthy. But do engage with us. We'll be back with our panel discussion after this break. I'm gonna do one more of those.
The number of times you're going to hit snooze. How many excuses you're going to make. And the amount of obstacles that are going to stand in your way.
0.
That's also the amount of sugar in the new Energade Zero sports drink. With zero compromise on taste and performance. Step up your game with new Energade Zero. It's what you put in.
When I was diagnosed with cancer at 32, thankfully I had illness insurance from Old Mutual. I was able to pay all the extra unexpected costs, and then, with the help of my financial advisor, I was able to invest the rest of my lump sum payout. I didn't expect this to happen to me, but the insurance has been a great relief.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to Feel Good Breakfast Show. This is Expresso on S3, and World Spine Day is what we are commemorating as we build up to it today. And I know that there are many, many individuals, such as yourself, who may be suffering, and this is why we've got the good doctors on the couch. Dr. Kruger and Dr. Lenton will be taking you through some of the details you need to know just so you can keep your spine in good nick. But naturally, when it comes to having experiences about how people have rehabilitated with regard to spine injuries, we have so many of those cases right here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. You'll be surprised at how back sort of cringing, or should I say stressing, operating a camera can be.
Oh, my buddy.
Standing all show.
I think it's one of the most physically grueling jobs in our little world here. You're dealing with heavy equipment, but you've got to be on your feet for like 12, 14 hours a day sometimes. And that, for me, is the killer. And one of our cameramen, we don't really like him that much, but we thought we'd bring him on because he's just so ridiculously good looking. We call him Skippy. Sean Inskip he's walked this journey with us. He had a back op last year. So, Skippy, if you can step into the light, my friend, you are allowed. This is the only time you're allowed to step out.
First time they put a cameraman in front of the camera, which is probably not the best.
And it's a mistake we'll never make again.
In fact, can you move around the other side? The cameraman don't know where to stand, man.
He doesn't know what
telling us where to stand.
He doesn't know where his good side is yet. Shawnee, I think like me, you woke up in another body. You had that bizarre experience of waking up where your body, your system is completely compromised. So walk us through what actually happened to you and the op that you had.
Exactly. Well, my journey with this sort of chronic back pain started about 17 years ago, where I was wakeboarding and I landed really badly, and I actually slipped a disc for the first time. And from then, it's just been a sort of constant struggle. And I went through the conventional methods of physiotherapy and getting the strength back. And then about a year ago, I was surfing and landed wrong again. The Monday morning, my alarm went off for work. Tried to get up, try to move my feet, put my feet down. I just had no power in my legs, couldn't stand.
Wow.
And eventually, after trying to go back through that route, which had worked before, I went to physio, I actually went to chiro, I went to so many different professionals. The final specialist, MRI, showed me there was just no option, and they had to do the same surgery as Graham had.
The microdissectomy.
Yeah, which is... pretty interesting route to get back to this point.
How hectic has it been, that rehabilitation path? Because you seem to be doing well now. I know every day is like a blank slate. What has really worked for you to get you to this point? Because you're looking great, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
You're looking good, dude.
Yeah, well, I mean, like my only advice to anyone that's been through this is you have to move, you have to move, you have to move.
Yeah.
As soon as you stop moving, you just seize up, and it's almost a daily challenge of each day was, okay, now I need to move my feet. And that's what I didn't realize. I said to my wife, I'll be back in the pool. I'll be swimming laps by week 3. And then when I was shuffling around the living room for 3 weeks, I was like, okay, cool, my legs don't work anymore. And then it was, that was the biggest challenge for me, being such an active human, to get into that rhythm of just moving. And then eventually you feel like you're not made of glass anymore, and then you can move. And now I've got to that point where I'm about 85%. So I can play golf twice a week, surf twice, 3 times a week, do exercise every evening. So I think that's
and guys, he's ginger. If he can do this, anybody can do this. I'm drawing on my inner ginger strength as well for this. No, buddy, it's been awesome to watch, and I think it's taken commitment. And we know you've been through the hard yards, dude. So well done. Keep it up, man. Okay, now get back to work, please. Get back to work. No, we love you guys.
So while you explain your story, doctors, if you don't mind, perhaps anybody's not going to know about a slipped disc. I think it's quite important for a bit of an illustration as to what that actually means.
Sure. Well, if I can just say, firstly, the disc does not slip. That's a bit of a layman's way of describing it. The way I like to describe it to patients is if you take a tube of toothpaste and you take the cap off, you give it a little squeeze, you get a little dollop of toothpaste that comes out. If you give it a big squeeze, you get a lot of toothpaste.
Get a big bulge.
Now, you can never get that toothpaste back in the tube once it's out. Now, I don't know if we can focus in the camera. You'll have to tell me if it's focusing. But what happens is that the disc, which sits right in the middle of the body of the vertebra, we call this part the body of the vertebra.
Yes.
And it sits right there, and there are very strong fibers that go around here to hold it, because there's tremendous pressure from above and from below. But those fibers do a pretty good job until you do something like a wakeboarding accident or some sort of a twist that tears the fibers. And the most common place for that disc to move to what we call herniate is backwards. So if we look here, this is the back of the body, this is the front, this is the business end, this is where the action happens. Here are the neurological fibers, the spinal cord is right here, there's a little nerve root that comes off here, as we call it, off the cord. Now that disc can herniate or ooze into that area, that little canal where the nerve comes out of, then it puts pressure. And that's when you get what we call referred pain. That's the problem, that's the neurological effect of that disc touching that nerve. And then there are a few other variables. It will depend on how big this hole is.
Yeah.
If you have a very big hole, you can have a nerve, and you can have some disc material that has oozed, doesn't touch the nerve, and you don't get any pain. But as we get older, the disc narrows. That's a normal part of the aging process and what we traditionally called arthritis, osteoarthritis. That narrows, the opening narrows. Now there's not much space. There's no wiggle room in there. So now it doesn't take much for the nerve to get trapped in there. And so what they do is that they go in, you're lying on your tummy usually, and while I'm not a spine surgeon, I have watched and been in a number of spinal operations, so I have a pretty good idea. They'll make an incision, they'll go down, and it's quite far from the skin to where that disc is a good 20 centimeters, 20 millimeters.
It's
so
crazy.
It's
The
quite
keyhole
far.
vibe
And so they go down, they sometimes have to nibble away, they say nibble a bit of the bone away to access that disc material, and then they'll pull it out. They'll literally remove it from the pressure that it's creating onto the nerve root. And that can relieve the pain almost instantaneously.
Yeah, and if your neuros are meant, you'll leave that little bit of disc in a jar next to your bed, so when you wake up, it'll be the first thing that you see. I think the crazy thing in my journey is operation was a success, but because I've got scoliosis, a curved spine, not having access to rehab, to the chiros, to the sports scientists, after, because of COVID, that's where my problem kicked in, because I couldn't re-strengthen the muscles supporting my skew spine. And I would imagine there are a lot of people out there that are going through that rehab journey. Rehab movement is key. I'm going to chat to Dr. Kruger about that in just a moment. One more session. We are talking about back health in lieu of Spine Health Day, which is coming up just around the corner.
Well, we're about to make something super delicious in the kitchen. I hope you're ready.
Clover's range of margarines and spreads. Classic spread. Mama Bake.
Margie, how do you know what we like?
I know someone who knows.
Spread the Margie love.
Made with love by Clover.
Now, when it comes to classic bakes, a banana muffin is one for the books, and our banana hemp muffins are guaranteed to be a crowd pleaser and perfect to enjoy with that morning cuppa. And I know that, yes, ladies, you've been asking, can Dr. Michele actually cook in the kitchen? Yes, he can. That's why he's next to me, about to show us how to make this particular recipe and also enlighten us on all the health benefits of the various ingredients that we're throwing into the mix. So let's get down to it. Hemp inspired. Are you a fan of hemp?
I am. So I think when people, or some people, when they hear hemp, they immediately think like marijuana.
Yes, yes,
cannabis.
yes.
They come from the same plant, but obviously if you eat hemp seeds, you don't get the same sort of stimulant effect.
Absolutely.
Completely different organic or active compounds. Hemp, it's starting to come big into the industry of health. I mean, it's loaded with sort of ingredients that we look for in our diets.
Yep.
The one that screams out is the healthy fats benefit. People don't know that, but a small quantity of it doesn't really come with the calorie burden, but it's got a high omega-6, omega-3, very healthy fat, low in low-density lipoproteins, high in high-density lipoproteins, so really good for people with cardiovascular health, people with hypertension. It's such a good preventative ingredient.
Is it anti-inflammatory?
It's anti-inflammatory, not as much as it has healthy fats, but it has anti-inflammatory benefits. In these muffins, we also have anti-inflammatory ingredients, so these are like the perfect combination of healthy fats, anti-inflammatory, really nice recipe.
All right, let's start on your side. What do you have there?
Cool, so I have the wet ingredients, you have the dry ingredients, really easy recipe. You mix the wet ingredients, you mix the dry ingredients, you mix them together, you got muffins.
Boom.
So what we have, 2 bananas, medium size, I would say. What you do is...
Yeah, hopefully nice and ripe, eh? You don't want them too...
Yeah, so the more ripe, the more sweet.
Yes,
so
there we go.
Sweeter end product, which is what most people would like.
Most of us are used to working with bananas post-pandemic, having made so many loaves of banana
I was about to say, I feel like I'm back in the pandemic. I think it's about time that we can revisit it, you know?
There we go.
Cool. So 2 bananas, mash it up a little bit. It's going to be a little bit too difficult to whisk if you haven't mashed it first.
And I guess you could also leave it not completely smooth, because then at the end, in terms of your final product of the muffin, you'll have little pieces of banana that you can chew through, which
gives texture to the muffin, which is really nice.
Exactly.
What goes in here? 2 eggs. If you want to just put them on the side, give them a little bit of a whisk before.
You've done this before, haven't you?
Before, you know,
Come on,
that.
man.
Cool, man. If you want to reduce the sugar a little bit, you can. It's half a cup of brown sugar.
Yeah, but if you're going to be using it as like your morning kickstarter, your breakfast, you're going to work out through, or you're going to work through those calories throughout the day in any case.
Exactly.
So you'll be good to go.
You know, and if you eat, you've got the health benefits, you've got a little bit of a carbohydrate kick. If you're using this to promote your day, to get your day started, not a bad thing at all.
Good things.
Cool. 2 tablespoons of honey. You can use a nice, organic, natural honey. There's a lot of these ones available.
Beautiful
And then we have this classic clover fat spread. This is 1/3 of a cup that we just put in a pot, put in the microwave, whatever. We just want to melt it down a little bit so it's soft. So you get that in here as well.
Go right ahead. And while you do, of course, Clover Classics is an ideal and versatile fat spread that can be used daily for spreading, for cooking, and even baking like we are now. It contains 7 vitamins, and it's made with a touch of clover cream for smoother spreadability as well. So those are our wet ingredients, all done. And over here, dry ingredients, got some flour.
Yeah, so it's 2 cups of flour, and then into that always salt. Salt brings out the flavor of all the other ingredients, really important. Just a little pinch of salt. It's probably about 1/4 teaspoon. Then we have cinnamon, and we have flax. So flax for fiber, gut health, in terms of people who struggle with motility issues, any abdominal gastrointestinal.
Motility, I've never heard that phrase.
So constipation or diarrhea.
Motility. Put that in your vocab for the day, okay.
That all goes in. That's a little bit of baking powder, just to give them that, you know, the light, hot. And then the most important ingredient, flax hearts. So flax hearts, all the added benefits.
These are hemp hearts, right?
Hemp hearts, sorry, man.
There we
hemp
go.
hearts. And they go in there. You can give that a quick mix.
Yeah, very easy. And then when you bake, do you add dry to wet or wet to dry?
Now, because the bowl's bigger with the wet ingredients.
Okay, cool. So you're going to do the whisking now, add slowly?
So you can actually just chuck it in, and we can
the whole
fold
thing?
it in nicely. Yeah,
okay, there we go. Okay.
That's cool.
That was pretty easy.
Cool. So
Not too much trouble.
We call this a folding figure of 8 method. You don't want to work out all of the sort of...
man, listen.
Yeah.
Wait, I saw your handle online. Is it Michele_Cooks?
Michele Cooks.
Michele Cooks.
Michele Cooks.
Does Michele cook?
Michele's a cook. Michele likes to cook.
Yeah? Okay, so clearly you have done this before. All right, you've got the whole figure of 8 folding technique, not over-mixing the whole thing. All right.
Exactly.
What are some of your favorite things to make in the kitchen?
Jeez, that question comes a lot.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. My Italian heritage probably makes me more of an Italian pasta, you know, like that kind of hearty Mediterranean guy.
Yeah.
But I'm all for the new trends of like baking with a little bit of an added benefit of health.
Yeah.
I really love that. People always thought baking was just for pleasure, like, you know, the treat that you can only eat on the weekend. Now we're incorporating these healthy things into our diet. It's so nice that we're seeing that more often in baking culture. So I do love a Saturday bake.
Wow. Look, I know you're busy with the medical practice and stuff, but have you ever considered a cooking show?
I think about it on the daily. You know, maybe it comes from this. You never.
Producers out there, come on, somebody write something. Oh my word. Okay, so we're gonna spoon these into this tray that you kind of.
Like you said, there's little chunks of banana which makes it so nice texturally. You can see there's no clumps of flour. It's all mixed in really nicely. When you get to this point, I don't know if you want to do one. I'll do one.
You must be careful, cooks out there. Michele is coming for your bag. Brilliant.
Cool, man.
Okay.
What you do is, I would say, just most important thing of the day: never overfill your muffin tin.
Really? You don't like those that spill over?
Yeah, you don't want that. But then you get, it just doesn't look nice. Line it with some spray and cook, anything that can, and put a little bit of lubrication on there. Just fill them about 2/3 full.
Lovely stuff.
Get it in there.
Pop it in the oven for about, what, 15 minutes?
I would say hemp hearts on the top, 15 minutes until it's a nice golden brown. Test it with a skewer. If there's nothing sticking to your skewer when you put it out, they're cooked.
Lovely stuff. Much appreciated. ExpressoShow.com is where you can find the recipe. Try it out, let us know what you think.
Made with love by Clover. Only you can make my day.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked as we continue our health focus this morning. Now, around 540 million people around the world suffer from lower back pain at any one time. That's crazy. With that in mind, the theme for World Spine Day 2022 is Every Spine Counts, and reflects on the need to reset and refocus on spinal pain and disability as part of the global burden of disease, because COVID has taken the focus firmly away from that. We need to find our aim again. And here to tell us more about back pain and ways to cope are chiropractors Dr. Marnie Kruger, or Kriya, and Dr. Kevin Lenton. You do realize now I'm going to have to say it both ways every time.
Yes.
It's just so gracious. Or I can just call you Marnie because we know each other well enough. Guys, thank you so much. I think so many people are experiencing some level of back pain at some point in their lives. In fact, we've got a couple of voice notes who came through. Let's hear how you guys are feeling right now.
I need a new back. I can't wake up every morning with a sore back, especially my lower back. I'm having suffering back injury due to a slip disc. What is it that I can do to fix this back besides surgery?
Before we move on to our next voice notes, I'm going to put it out there because that's what it's about. I know that maybe a spinal fusion is there on the cards at some point because of my script spine. Maybe I don't need a new spine just yet, like that particular caller, but all of us are wanting to prevent the more invasive stuff. So where do we even begin, Marnie?
I think you need to find someone that you trust.
Yeah.
If you can find a chiropractor that you trust and you can, like you say, walk the journey with that person, that's really important. I think guidelines tell us that we need to have patients under conservative management for about 3 months before we refer them on for surgery.
Okay.
But the main thing is exercise. I really believe that you need to figure out something that you like doing to move your body in a way that you can manage the pain. So it mustn't be too sore. Dosage is very important, like Dr. Lenton said. You know, it mustn't be too aggressive. It needs to work for you. But the big thing is you need to see someone and figure out how severe your problem is. Like we mentioned, if you have any sort of numbness, tingling, any sort of change, weakness, you need to see someone immediately. Another big thing to me is you shouldn't wait for pain to hang around more than 3 months, because then we start dealing with chronic pain, and that's very difficult to treat. So seeing someone before 3 months gives you peace of mind that maybe the condition isn't as serious as you thought it was, and stress and all of those things does aggravate pain.
Anxiety has a
Anxiety,
massive
yes,
impact on pain
exactly.
management,
So seeing someone that you trust, I think, would be a good place to start, and then they can help you and guide you to get more physically active, making sure your ergonomics at work is better, taking frequent breaks. There's a lot of things that you as the patient need to do. We can only help you and guide you as much as we can. Yeah, that's...
and it's so good that you say that, because each one of you is completely different as well. And as much as you study your chiropractic science for 6 years, you've got a lifetime of knowledge that you're gaining with each new client that you have. You want to tap into that. Erica also sent us a voice note. Let's hear if she needs a new back.
Good morning, Expresso show. This is Erica speaking from Bella. Doctors, I would like to know what is wrong with my back. Every night, my back is paining, my lower back. My back is not bothering me during the day, but only in the night. And it's most of the time on the right side of my lower back. Please help, doctors, please.
Well, that's intriguing, you know, because my dad, he had a slip disc, and he manifested in a way where at night he'd have pain. In the day when he was moving around and doing his job, he didn't feel said pain, but it was only when he became sort of rested at night that the pain came through. So he associated the night with the pain, and it almost became a psychological thing. Yeah. So what is happening in this scenario? I know it's very difficult to tell, but maybe anecdotally.
A very simple thing would be maybe it's the mattress that's causing the problem. Okay, orthopedic mattress just means a nice firm mattress. So if you don't have a firm mattress, your bum kind of sinks in, and that can contribute to pain. Like you say, taking the day, you know, resting at the end of the day, that can contribute to it. Yeah, what do you think, Doc?
I think that it also depends what this young lady is doing through the day. Yeah. You know, while we're active, the body produces certain painkillers, its own natural painkillers and endorphins to help you get through whatever you're doing. A lot of people say to us, I play golf and I feel absolutely fine. But when I get home 2 hours later, I can't walk. And so that's the body pumping in these natural painkillers.
Yeah.
So that's why you might not feel it as much during the day. So it's important to see, does she sit a lot of the time? Is she a desk-bound type of job, a more physical type of job, which could then be exacerbating the problems at night? Everything kind of relaxes. Those painkillers, your natural painkillers subside. Again, as Marnie says, the bed can play a major role. Sometimes we watch TV in funny positions. We sit awkwardly, that then exacerbates whatever we've been doing through the day. So as chiropractors, we go through a lot of education for patients to try and help figure out what are the actual causes, not just to treat the pain as such. We want to try and prevent it. That's obviously our major focus.
I wanted to ask Erica if she has a 2-year-old, because that's, I think, been the common denominator in so many of these stories.
People have their dogs on their beds and they sleep awkwardly to accommodate their dog. I'm like, get the dog a bed.
Get a smaller dog. You've got to get a sausage that can kind of curve to the shape of your spine. That's what I did. I absolutely love it. Thank you for those comments. 0634088863. If you've got any comments or questions, insights in your own pain management journey, if you've had issues with your back, let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
One of those classic lines you're not easily to forget. Get a sausage, said Graham Richards. On the topic of health, let's turn our attention now to our healthcare professionals. Now, pharmacists are not only brave, but they also inspire hope within their community. And Pharmacy of the Week is a short feature acknowledging our incredible pharmacists out there. And this is our way of saying thank you to these brave healthcare workers, proudly brought to you by Adcock Ingram OTC, sponsors of Brave. Let's take a look at this week's Pharmacy of the Week, which is Black Mode Pharmacy all the way in Rusty Dusty, Rustenburg.
Our pharmacies are on the front line of healthcare. This is Pharmacy of the Week.
It's been a long journey for me since 1994. And I like to think of it as leaving conventional pharmacy to go into an area where it's much needed health service, which is obviously the much poorer community. And I've been serving the taxi rank of Rustenburg since about 1994. Brave, in my circumstances, is being knowledgeable. In the taxi rank area where we are, it's difficult to distinguish between us and medical doctors, for instance. We've had to up our training. We're PCDT qualified to be able to help the patients basically any way they need. We have many doctors that we refer to, and in most cases we can help them, but we've got to have the ability and we have to have the facility to be able to help them. And the training that we give our staff, they're all up to standard, so anybody coming through the door can expect to get first-class treatment and service.
Pharmacy of the Week, proudly brought to you by Adcock Ingram OTC, sponsors of Brave.
We've been long in the game, healing South Africa one allergy at a time. All the sneezing, runny nose, itching of nose and throat, we've left no stone unturned. Until finally, South Africa recognized us. You've given us the courage to continue to do what we do best. Live, work, play, sleep allergy-free with Allergex Non-Drowsy. Ask your pharmacist for the full allergy range. Brought to you by Adcock Ingram OTC, sponsors of Brave.
Now, Hopetober is a month of hope, brought to you by Adcock Ingram OTC, sponsors of Brave, and it inspires communities one pharmacy at a time.
This one goes out to the brave ones who make it through no matter what's facing you.
Adcock Ingram OTC, sponsors of Brave, are spreading hope this October in honor of you.
So stand a chance of winning 2,000 Rand daily by answering the weekly Hopetober competition question on the Expresso Facebook, Twitter or Instagram pages using the hashtag Hopetober and hashtag sponsors of Brave.
This competition closes Friday the 28th of October. T's and C's can be found on expressoshow.com.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked as we approach the second hour of the show this morning. But of course, you had an important job to do this morning. Poor Cat needed your help on a Tuesday, and he presented you with these two options. We had these beautiful coral foliage printed swim shorts paired with a nice plain t-shirt. Let the shorts do the talking. And then option two was a pair of mid-length swim shorts with a t-shirt and palm tree printed shirt. Perfect for the season. So let's see what you guys had to say. Intabi Singh said, good morning. I think option two will look so good on him. I think we've got a bit of a crush there. It's okay. Melanie Mostert saying, good morning, Expresso team. Cap will look great in number two. Katlego saying, option two without a doubt. Go Cat. Lots of love here. We've got a few crushes and a lot of love for option two. But let's see the man himself. Oh, was he born on an island? I think you were born on an island.
When you're feeling like you're the man on the island, man, bring in the vibes, man, you know?
Nice,
one time, three times, option two, the winner. Bamba clad.
Man with some slops, beautiful.
You know, bro, always just keeping it nice, keeping it fresh. Summer's here, we're doing the thing.
Tuesday for what?
Come on now.
Tuesday for what?
Looking like that guy. I should be as dark as that guy, and then we're like, look at that.
We'll get you out in the sun again, bro. We'll get there. One day we'll get outside. We'll enjoy this beautiful season, but this is how you do it. Relaxed, beautiful, stylish. Ah, man, what a gent. Absolutely love it. You can find this in-store or online or on the amazing Woolies app. Get out there. It's beautiful weather.
Poses sold separately.
Yeah.
I've been vibing. Yeah. Me and my folks all good. That sun is shining. Ay, still on my feet kicked up like I ain't trying. Yeah. This is what I want on summer, yeah. Gangs all here, let's run it, yeah. This is what I want on summer, yeah. Gangs all here, let's run it, yeah. Vibes right here, 100, yeah.
Let's take a peek at your news headlines for now, just after 7 o'clock. And the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development incurred more than 900 million rand in irregular expenses in the 2021-2022 financial year. The department's annual report was presented in Parliament. The irregular expenses are more than in the previous financial year. The report showed that some 600 million rand of the irregular expenses are being investigated by forensic auditors for possible fraud and collusion. The Auditor General Tsakane Maluleke said some of the irregular expenses were related to the bid requirements for the appointment of a security company for 863 million rand. Now, the Deputy President of the South African Transport and Allied Workers Union, Koketse Sepogwane, says it's unfortunate that Transnet's strike will have a devastating impact on the economy. The union is seeking a wage increase of between 12 and 13%, while Transnet is offering just 3%. Meanwhile, the Western Cape Minister of Finance and Economic Opportunities, Muriel Wenger, has said that Transnet's continuity plans have to be fully implemented in order for ports and container terminals to continue with their operations. Now on to international news. The European Union says the latest Russian missile attack in Ukraine amounts to war crimes. Now, the European Commission described the attacks on civilians and civilian infrastructure in Kiev and other cities as barbaric and cowardly. According to Ukraine, 83 Russian missiles were fired at targets in various cities yesterday morning. 43 of them were shot down by Ukraine air defense systems. Among the buildings hit were the German consulate's visa office in Kiev and several key infrastructure points. 11 deaths have been reported so far, and some 60 people have been wounded. Now, results from Friday's parliamentary election in Lesotho have seen a recently founded party led by a millionaire diamond magnate winning the highest number of seats. Sam Matakane's Revolution for Prosperity Party won 56 seats, and the All Basotho Convention Party, which led the outgoing government, won only 8 of the country's 120 seats. Mr. Matakane is well regarded in business circles, having made his money in the diamond, construction and transport industries, but it's his philanthropy that the people of Lesotho took notice of, especially in the last few years. And wrapping things up, actor Michael J. Fox is set to be honored by the U.S. Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences at this year's Governor's Awards for his contributions to film and his efforts to help cure Parkinson's disease. Meanwhile, Fox and Christopher Lloyd, who's 83, delighted Back to the Future fans when they were reunited at the weekend, 37 years after the release of the sci-fi comedy. The pair, who respectively starred as time-traveling high school student Marty McFly and eccentric Doc Emmett Brown in the 1985 blockbuster, and its 2 sequels, appeared together at the New York Comic Con on Saturday to speak about the modern classic's legacy. The event made for a reunion of epic proportions. ovations, and fans couldn't contain their excitement after footage and pictures of the beloved duo began circulating online. 61-year-old Fox was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 1991 at the age of just 29. In 2000, he founded the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research. He'll receive the Academy's Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award at the event scheduled for the 19th of November. It's safe to say, Great Scott, a beautiful story to wrap things up. As we get into your sport, Graham is standing by.
Well, someone who must be feeling pretty McFly this morning as we turn on to rugby is Springbok and Stormers prop Stephen Kitsoff, who is believed to be close to confirming a deal with Irish club Ulster. According to an Irish website, Independent IE, Kitsoff has already, quote, agreed terms to join Ulster after the 2023 Rugby World Cup. Now, Kitsoff is contracted to the Stormers up until 2024, but sources at the club say that the URC champions will not stand in the way of the 30-year-olds if he wants to be relieved from his contract earlier. Kitsoff, of course, captained the Stormers to URC's glory, the title last season. Then these are definitely not the stories we like to report on. As we turn to soccer now, Enoch Mwepu has been forced to end his playing career following the diagnosis of a hereditary heart condition. The condition, which can worsen over time, would put the Zambian at an extremely high risk of suffering a potentially fatal cardiac event if he were to continue playing competitive football. Now, Mwepu, who had recently fallen ill on a trip with the Zambian national team to Mali. The 24-year-old was unable to train after arriving in West Africa last month and then spent 4 days in hospital as a result. He had tests on his return to England, and Brighton have now said that the results meant the only option, sadly, was for him to retire. Then we turn to Formula One, and we expected a sting in the tail here. Red Bull have been found guilty of breaking Formula One's budget cap by the sport's governing body, the FIA. So Red Bull exceeded the $145 million limit during 2021, according to the FIA, adding that the offence was minor, the lower of the two categories of breach, and this means the team exceeded the cap by less than 5%, or $7.25 million. Both Red Bull and Aston Martin were also found guilty of procedural breach of the cap. The FIA said it was, quote, currently determining the appropriate course of action to be taken. Now, I'll tell you, there have been, yes, a lot of complaints about the Live Golf Tour, but I can promise you one man who is probably going to put his name at the top of next year's waiting list is two-time major winner Dustin Johnson, who has just pocketed $18 million. That was after securing the inaugural Live Golf Individual Championship. Organisers of the Breakaway Tour announced this yesterday. The American has had 5 top 10 finishes in the opening 6 events of the Saudi-backed series, including a dramatic win at the Live Golf Invitational in Boston. The 38-year-old finished 16th at the Bangkok tournament, which ended this last Sunday, and now has an insurmountable lead in the individual standings with 1 regular season event remaining. But I think this one is going to return for another season. And that's where we leave our sport for now. We'll touch on those headlines again at 8. Let's see how the competition out on the roads is looking before we send you off to work.
Thanks very much, Graham. Starting off in Bedford View in Johannesburg, there's a multi-vehicle accident on the N3 southbound at the Galulis interchange. Both the left lanes are blocked, so please do approach with caution. And then over in Garsfontein in Pretoria, there's a stationary vehicle on the N1 northbound before Garsfontein. The left lane is closed, so please drive carefully. That's it on the reports on your roads. Right now, let's take a look at what the weather looks like. And we start off by reporting on a win in the battle against climate change. The world has finally agreed on a long-term plan to curb carbon emissions from flying. Now, at a meeting in Montreal, Canada on Saturday, the International Civil Aviation Organization, or the ICAO, pledged to support an aspirational net zero aviation goal by 2050. Now, the plan was accepted by the 193 countries which are members of the organization. And when the world came together in Paris in 2015, you might remember, to agree on a long-term plan to tackle climate change, 2 key industries were missing, which were aviation and shipping. Now, the airline industry contributes around 2.5% of global carbon emissions. Meanwhile, some further good news. South Africa was re-elected as a member of the ICAO's Governing Council. Deputy Transport Minister Sindisiwe Chikunga, who led the SA delegation, said the country's re-election was an achievement for Africa and the aviation industry, as South Africa would continue to lead, support support and execute the objectives set by the organization's statutes. Well, from climate change, we now head on over to take a look at some of your beautiful sunrise views. And Mark Bosman out in George shared this beautiful view of a beaming sun glimmering through the clouds. Thank you so much for that. Then Fatah Khan, also thank you to you, showing his perfect daily views. And this one is showing off a cloudy morning overlooking the yachts in Richards Bay. Then Arusha Singh from Centurion captured this beautiful, subtle tangerine view from her garden before taking her dogs for a morning walk. And then last up, this video sent to us by Sumaya Conrad from Weinberg, showing off a magnificent view from the top overlooking the city. Look at that. My goodness, what a view. Absolutely gorgeous. Thank you for bringing in the sights and the sounds of your area. And we do appreciate them. Please continue to send those sunrise views to us in video format or in picture format to 063-408-8863. Let's quickly reflect on the temperatures around the country, starting off in Polokwane, a low of 14 and a high of 32. Over in Mbombela, minimum of 17 and a high of 33. Pretoria will see temperatures ranging between 15 and 32, and quite similarly in Johannesburg, 14 to 30. Now moving on over to the Northwest Province, in Mahikeng, a low of 17 and a high of 32. Klerksdorp, between 16 and 34 is your temperature range for the day. In Kimberley, a low of 20 and a high of 35, so a pretty hot day there. And over in Bloemfontein, a low of 13 and a high of 33. Now, Richards Bay will expect to see temperatures ranging between 23 degrees Celsius and 31 degrees. Pietermaritzburg, 18 to 34 with a 25% chance of rain. Over in Durban, a low of 21 and a high of 29, and Mthatha, 15 and 36. Let's go over to East London with a low of 19 and a high of 33. In Cradock, temperatures there will range between 13 and 36 degrees Celsius. In Gqeberha, 17 to 27, and George, 15 to 23. Over in the mother city, a low of 15 and a high of 22 can be expected throughout the day. In Worcester, 12 to 32. Sutherland with a low of 11 and a high of 27. And Uppington closing things off on a low of 22 and a high of 39 degrees Celsius. So make sure that you do stay protected if your area is particularly hot. But let's continue our health chat on this Tuesday, focusing on World Spine Day.
Let's do that right now. And in fact, we have our doctors still standing by to make sure that you are completely in the know about World Spine Day and, of course, spine health. And we didn't get a chance a little earlier to actually expand on this, and I'd love to do that with Dr. Marnie Kruger as well as Dr. Kevin Lenton. When it comes to actual, good spine health, I think that a lot of people, we look to social media, we see the cracking of the back videos with the...
We hear the cracking, yeah.
We hear the and then you think to yourself, like, where does that noise come from? Because the thing is, your mind tells you, is this air escaping from somewhere?
Yeah,
is it
nitrogen bubbles?
What is it?
Yeah.
So I think maybe it'll be very nice as a little anecdote to tell us exactly what that cracking sound actually is.
Shall I go? Well, if I can describe it again with my little model here. So the spine has a number of joints. If you can imagine your head up at the top and your tail at the bottom, between each set of vertebrae is a joint. It's just like any other joint really in the body, like an ankle joint. And around that joint is some fluid called synovial fluid. It's like the lubricating fluid that keeps us feeling a little bit flexible in there.
Okay.
And part of the chemical makeup of that joint fluid is nitrogen. And there are bubbles in this nitrogen fluid. So when we adjust, that's the term we as chiropractors use for our manipulation. It's a very gentle mobilizing of the joint. We open the joint space, and that allows those bubbles to pop. They leave that joint space, and that's the actual noise that you hear. It's not bone rubbing on bone.
You haven't dislocated your head, and they are now clicking it back into place. I would imagine if you had to dislocate any one of these joints, you would be in hospital within seconds and having surgery. Yeah?
Absolutely. We stay away from that.
Yeah.
But that fluid then reconstitutes itself, and those nitrogen bubbles just reappear miraculously. And so we carry on. So the actual noise is not the bone going back into place. As we talked about earlier, we don't realign the spine. We don't put bones back in place. we mobilize. We get the joints moving nice and freely to create flexibility, literally right from the top all the way down to the bottom. And even though a patient may present with, say, lower back pain, it's quite often that the problem is higher up, actually, or vice versa. They could come in with neck pain and the problem is lower back because the whole spine works synergistically, all the joints move together. And so we will look everywhere to find what we refer to as a locking or a fixation of the joint. And then our job is to mobilize and move that joint.
Marty, why is this mobility so important? Because I keep thinking half of my issues have come from a lack of mobility. When then now this part of the body, which should be doing its own job, is now having to do the job of this part of the body, and now this shoulder's doing that job and this shoulder, and then suddenly everything is out of alignment and it's exacerbating the original problem. How do you guys even know where to begin? I suppose with the mobility, that gives you the opportunity to work through that whole system, but why is that so key?
So we use a system called biopsychosocial to evaluate our patients. As you said, every single patient is different. And you, for example, mentioned that you hurt your back while changing a nappy. And I mean, like, you can't tell your patient, stop caring for your kids. That's going to sort out your back pain. So you need to look at the pain in perspective of what the patient has. So biologically, some people will be prone to developing conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, and we know that predisposes them to developing pain, for example. Socially, what is is it a patient who's a mom that needs to lift up her children? So it needs to be very specific to that patient. And the last component being the thing that I keep on saying, it's the psychological component of pain. So, and that's what you need to look at when you start working with a patient. So when you go to a chiropractor, they'll spend a lot of time taking the history and figuring out, what does the pain mean to the patient? We'll sometimes ask patients, what's your pain out of 10? And then the patients go, well, I don't know, because they think we want to measure it according to everyone else's pain out of 10.
Or if I say 8, I'm going to be sent to the neuro, or that, it doesn't work like that.
It's a simple answer of, what does this pain mean to you? So that's what we ask. So we have a systematic way that we go through a history taking. We then will perform an examination. Then we sit with the patient and try and understand, what do you think about your pain? Because that's really important. And then we take it from there. And then you'll try some general things, and maybe you need to tweak your treatments, because every person's different. So it's a systematic approach, looking at a patient as a whole.
And I'm hearing you say that, that was the biggest turning point for me, was a reframing of the pain more than the injury. It's crazy, but that was something that my brain needed to be kind of rewired around. I wish we could sit and talk for hours. We're going to continue to keep this conversation going for as long as we absolutely can. 063-408-8863. If you've got any insight yourself, if you've been through something along this line, please let us know. If you've got any questions, post them as well.
Revlon Color Stay Matte Like Crayon. Play it up. Bold matte color goes on as easy as a crayon. Feels barely there. Super soft, 12 rocket poppin' shades. New Revlon Color Stay Matte Like Crayon. Wanna play?
last few weeks, we've been chatting to Kensani Baloyi, who's a product expert at Old Mutual, about illness insurance and what it is and who needs it. And this morning, Kensani joins us once again, and we take a closer look at Old Mutual's illness insurance. And it's been wonderful exploring this product, which I think is going to revolutionize the way that people think about their lives and what they need to take care of in terms of covering all the bases, if I can put it that way. And one of the things that I think you and I have touched on before and that I'd like to explore a bit more is the customization that is available with this product. Exactly how does it work in terms of flexibility and making it fit your needs?
Thanks for having me back, Katlego. So customization and flexibility are key characteristics of Old Mutual's illness insurance. And customization, because you're able to choose and only pay for the benefits and features that you need and not those that you don't. And then when we look at flexibility, that is in order for you to be able to change your product as and when your needs change.
So those are, I think, very important aspects, because usually these kinds of packages come pre-packaged and quite standard. So how far does it go in terms of being able to really tailor it to your needs?
So with Old Mutual, that's not the case. So our illness insurance does not come pre-packaged or standard because of the high level of customization that we offer, which your advisor can guide you through. And the reason we've done this is because we know that no two people are the same, right? So there's absolutely no reason for their cover to be. So if we take a look at a male and a female customer, for example, right? They've got completely different needs, but as you said, the industry norm is for them to get offered the same product. And so in that case, you could find that the male customer ends up paying for benefits that they don't need, and they end up being covered for illnesses that are only prevalent in females, right? But unfortunately, they have to pay for it because it's part of the package.
Part of the package.
So with Old Mutual, what we do is that we offer that male client the option to not select what we call the female illness benefit.
Right.
Because they don't need cover for that. But then the female client can select the for women benefit in order for them to be covered for female-specific illnesses.
Exactly.
And these are illnesses that relate to their fertility or any complications during pregnancy. The great thing about this level of customization is not only the fact that this allows the customer to be covered for exactly what they need, but it also allows them to stay true to their budget.
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of think that these things should be, that should be the standard, right? It's intuitive that you should only be paying for the things that you really benefit from. And how far does it then extend? Because if I've selected a product, or call it a package that I've customized for myself, can I change it at a later stage and further customize it then?
Absolutely, because you need a product that will change as your life changes.
Right.
You need your cover to remain relevant, right? So just to make this practical, say, for example, you took out cover at a time where you weren't thinking about having children at all, right? You would have just taken out cover for yourself. But at a later stage, if you change your mind and decide that you're going to start having children, then you can come back and add on what we call the child illness benefit to ensure that your child is also protected against illnesses that are prevalent in children. And these may be illnesses like child cancer, birth defects, and many others that we cover. So this just goes to show that the flexibility offers you the option to adapt your cover as your life changes. So if anyone's watching and doesn't know where to start, I do recommend that they reach out to their financial advisor, and if they don't have one, then they can reach out to one of Old Mutual's financial advisors on 0860 60 60 60, or they can visit our website on oldmutual.co.za/illness.
Yeah, well, it's been wonderful chatting to you and getting to learn about more about Old Mutual's illness insurance, and I certainly hope that you have been inspired to start the conversation with yourself and, of course, with your friends around you. So do go ahead, plan ahead by protecting yourself and your family from the unexpected costs of severe illness. And trust me, you will thank yourself. Speak to your financial advisor, no matter your budget or your needs. And of course, you can call them on that number 0860 60 60 60, or visit them online at oldmutual.co.za/illness. Whatever you do, just get that conversation started. It's really important.
When I was diagnosed with cancer and a stroke, I couldn't work. I wasn't expecting it to happen to me, but my illness insurance paid out a lump sum and I was able to provide for my family.
Welcome back, you beautiful souls. Thank you so much for joining us as we have been really focused on spinal health today. And I think so many people have gone through some form of back injury, some more chronic than others. But rehabilitation in my journey has been key. And I think back injury rehabilitation is often recommended shortly after an injury. Because of COVID, so many of us that went through some kind of chronic back injury haven't had the rehab that we've needed. So I'm all about being proactive. And as you resume your daily activities, a program of gentle stretching and strengthening of the back muscles can help you recover. And here to take us through some of those exercises is Dr. McKelly. So it's a crazy thing. It forced me to rethink how I train and treat my body. I used to almost push my body past its limits, break down those walls, break down that muscle tissue, and it was quite a combative. Now, I see it as a completely different thing. As you get to my age, you've got to love your body, yeah. Because it becomes a list that it's a compound list of injuries that you just add to. But all jokes aside, a little bit of stretching and being proactive can help you so much. And you don't have to even get your gym gear on. If you're at the office, if you're feeling the pain, you can do this. It doesn't require a lot. So you've taken us through some beautiful stretches that get the circulation going, that open up that system, get the movement. Where do we pick up from there?
Cool. So I think, again, you know, I like to do always downward facing and then upward facing exercises. It just makes it easier to remember kind of like a flow to go through. In yoga, we talk about, you know, flows and different ways of moving into different movements, and I think that's really important. So I think, I mean, with spinal health, you know, yoga focuses on this really strongly, the downward dog, or this position where your spine is kind of neutral and very safe, and we're going to take 2 exercises from there, and then we'll turn it onto the back, and we'll do 2 exercises as well. So what the downward dog is, essentially, I mean, you can come into this through a flow, but you want to plant your feet and try and create a triangular shape with your body, right? So what you're doing is you're trying to put your head in between your shoulders, and kind of extend that shoulder blade and really push back through your spine so that you're getting a nice stretch in your spine, right? That's where you want to come, and that's a really good feeling.
And you feel that right the way down your hamstring, and I think that's been a big thing for me, is like all the muscles, you know, the butt muscles, the hamstring and the lower back are all so interconnected, and if one goes, it's a knock-on effect.
Absolutely, man. So what you want to do is, from here, I'm just going to take you through a very slow flow. So slow through your hands like that, and then we're just going to hyperextend the back a little bit. Push through your hands, extend that back, and you feel that really good stretch in the lower back. And you can hold it there for as long as you need. I think this is a really good position to be in. And then from here, when you feel ready, you just flow back into a nice child's pose. So you go all the way back, extending that back in between, and you just feel the stretch up along the sides of your body, lower back, and that's a really good starting point for any sort of rehabilitation flow or movement for the lower.
I love that. And it's all that tissue at the, you know, the fascia that connects everything. It's not just a muscle or a tendon or a bone.
Exactly.
It's a complete system.
I mean, your back is so complex, so, you know, this is really good. So we'll come back into tabletop. From here, I want to take you through 2 movements. These are good core strengthening, back stretching exercises. So what you do is you want to put your left leg backwards and your right arm forwards, and you're going to kind of extend through the spine as much as you can, as far as you can, and then you're going to bring it in, right elbow to left knee, and just crunch the core down. And then you want to repeat through that movement, slowly, and you can feel your core contracting, and you can feel your lower back stretching nicely. And you'll just do 5 movements on either side. We'll finish one side.
And it's crazy. I mean, there was a time where I couldn't do one. I couldn't even balance on one hand, you know?
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, that's insane. It's a good thing you mentioned balance, you know, that's such a big part of spinal health as well, is working on that balance. Okay, cool. So you can repeat that on the other side. I want to show you one more exercise while we're down here. So what you can do from this position is you come forward with the one leg. Okay. What you're going to do is take your right arm and put it over your left leg, right? And then you want to put your left arm, or your palm to palm, right? And what you can do is you can push through your hands to sort of generate a rotational force in your back. And that's a really nice way to strengthen the sort of stabilizing muscles and to rotate that back really. I don't know if you can feel that stretch in your lower back.
Yeah,
Really
right
nice
across the spine. It's quite nice because there's often parts of the spine that you can't get to.
Exactly, it's a really good stretch.
Touches in between the shoulder blades.
Exactly, and you come back out of it. And you can obviously repeat that on the other side as well.
Yeah, beautiful.
Cool. If we have some time, I want to just show you one exercise that we can do on the back as well. So that's sort of the downward facing exercises. What I like to do is we'll turn it around and we'll go onto the back. Okay, cool. So from your neutral position, just flex the knees, right? So you take your left ankle and you put it on top of your right knee, right? And then you just take your arms and you put them behind your right knee. So behind, and this is a really good stretch for the lower back. And again, you can pull onto that right leg and you can feel the lower back stretching.
You've got the issues with the sciatica, and if it's, you know, like the piriformis and all those butt muscles that lock around that nerve.
Yeah.
This becomes a great one.
And this one you can hold as long as you need to, and you can just repeat it on the other side. It's a really good stretch for the lower back.
Yeah, to be honest, this is generally where I start. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, dude,
really nice.
I love it, man. I love the fact that a little bit of mobility goes a long way. And trust me, 2 weeks of inactivity, 3 months of moving backwards. Stand up, and you've earned yourself some fruits of the forest because you're just so amazing. And so tanned this morning. You've earned yourself a little dairy snack, okay?
Weather's been amazing. So.
We can't pay him, unfortunately, but we have to give him something. I absolutely love the fact that we've got you on tap, brother, and you live all of these principles as well, which makes a massive, massive, I think, a shot in the arm for us. You don't have to live with the pain. You can be proactive. As much as it feels like, as I joke about saying, I woke up in someone else's body, you can find your way back. And the key for myself, for Sean, our amazing cameraman, who's also been on that journey, for all of us, it's movement. You've just got to keep moving. So you've earned that, buddy. You can enjoy it.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I feel better already.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso, right here on S3. Thanks for joining us at the start of a brand new day. Now we're continuing our health talk this Health Tuesday, and some of you might be or might know that uncomfortable feeling of being lactose intolerant. It causes cramps and bloating, upset stomach, and even nausea sometimes. And some of you may not even be aware that you are lactose intolerant. And here to shed some light on the matter is Dr. Michele Venzaghi, who I've really enjoyed tapping into your wealth of knowledge when it comes to exercise and, of course, our diet, as well as we're cooking in the kitchen.
Absolutely, yeah.
So let's focus on being lactose intolerance and maybe define that for those who might not know all about it. What exactly is it, and how does one become lactose intolerant?
So I think it's probably an expanding topic in the world at the moment, and a lot more people are starting to understand what lactose intolerance is, especially with milk alternatives coming out. I think there's, you know, the only way to diagnose lactose intolerance is to kind of remove it from the diet and then to see that this person has improvement in their symptoms. There are other expensive avenues like breath tests and stuff like that, but you know, that's kind of foreign to us at this point. So lactose intolerance essentially has two avenues. The one is where you get symptoms when you eat lactose. So anything that's lactose containing, you know, most dairy products have a lot of lactose, and then you get gastrointestinal upset, and we call that an intolerance to lactose. The other one is more of an asymptomatic disease where you don't really know it, but your body doesn't have lactase, which is the enzyme that breaks down lactose in order to make it something that we can use or utilize in our bodies for calcium and vitamin D and those things.
Yes.
So there are two avenues. The one that we probably focus on more is the one that creates symptoms because, you know, milk is such a big part of our diets. We drink a lot of coffee. We drink a lot of milk in our coffees, and we eat cereal with milk and everything. So it is
a lot of things that you just enjoy on the daily.
Yeah.
Incidentally, you know, it's a hot day and you feel like just having a quick little ice cream to cool you down. There's dairy in that.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
your favorite yogurt snack or whatever it might be. Yeah.
They all contain quite high quantities of lactose. So, I mean, lactose intolerance is not something that happens to someone because of what they do. It's sort of a, I don't want to say genetic, but it's an inherent thing. You know, you've got a predisposition to not having that enzyme in your body. It's not something that you do or provoke through lifestyle. It is something that...
So you're born that way then?
You're born that way. Sometimes it develops later in life. Physiologically, it's quite complicated, but some people are born with it, and then as children, they'll have those symptoms. Some people develop the symptoms later in life.
And that might then also be the case that as a child, your parents might overlook it because, you know, a child's immune system is still being developed. You're still getting used to different kinds of food. So let's wait it out. Meanwhile, you've been lactose intolerant all your life, and it just wasn't seen yet. And then you kind of, as you said, can only really know once you remove that element out of your diet and you see the difference. Let's talk about the symptoms. Perhaps if you have been one of those people and you've gotten used to just living with it, but there are moments of discomfort. And what are you looking for as markers to go, maybe I should look into this?
So I think that's, like you touched on it, you know, we can't really ever exist in a parallel universe. So we don't know how it feels to be optimized until we are optimized, right? So I always say, like, you know, if you have any gastrointestinal problems, so if you're having constipation or diarrhea, if you feel bloated a lot of the time, if you feel nauseous, or you just feel like you don't have a good appetite, or, you know, you'll know when you have gastrointestinal problems. Anything to do with the gastrointestinal tract, I would suggest taking lactose out of your diet completely for 7 days. Give yourself 7 days, remove it from your diet. There are beautiful alternatives out there. Replace the things that have lactose in your diet with lactose-free options and see how you feel. Even if you don't feel like you have overt symptoms, just, you know, test the waters. See how it feels to be lactose-free. And if you feel a significant improvement, then just cut it out of your diet. We have supplemented products nowadays. This is a really nice product. It's got vitamin D, it's got calcium, which are the things that people who cut out lactose usually lose, because a lot of lactose-containing products have vitamin D and calcium in them.
Yes, exactly. And
so
you
they
don't
cut them
out on that.
and then they miss out on that. So you got to look for substitutes. You have to find other ways to sort of supplement your diet with those things.
Yeah. So as it stands right now in the medical field, is there an existing treatment for being lactose intolerant, or is it, as you've just described now, about taking it out of the diet and then maybe slowly introducing small amounts here and there where you really feel like treating yourself? What are some of the developments happening in that field right now?
So in first world countries, you know, there are some developments in terms of lactase supplementation.
Right.
It's extremely expensive.
Yes.
And I think that in our setting, a much more practical approach or healthcare advice would just be to remove it from your diet. And like you said, it doesn't mean that you can never have lactose, right? You can incrementally add small quantities of lactose into your diet. You can even still have small quantities of lactose quite regularly, just given the symptoms that you have. And this is a spectrum of disease, right? There's mild, there's moderate, and there's severe, depending on where you fall in that spectrum.
Yeah, and ultimately, we have a wonderful product that can absolutely take care of it. So thank you very, very much, Dr. Benzaki. And of course, if you do find yourself suffering from lactose intolerance, then of course, Clover Nolac, or Nolac from Clover, is there and is pre-treated with an enzyme that breaks down any lactose, making it easier to digest, which then means you can enjoy dairy again. And with the added calcium and the vitamin D that the good doctor was referring to, it offers a delicious, creamy taste that can be enjoyed with anything. Nolac, be free with lactose free.
Made with love by Clover.
So we're going to keep it healthy today. We got your back on that throughout the entire show, and that's why we want to bring in the good chef, because we just chatted about another area around lactose. But let's get into hemp, you know, because the thing is, hemp is a superfood that contains helpful and beautiful healthy fatty acids, protein and fiber, amongst other nutrients, and they're great to incorporate into your everyday foods. And we're showing you how flavorful a beautiful basil and hemp sauce for your midweek pasta lunch can actually be for you. Michele, the chef, is come through again. We're putting you to work today, man. You have done back rehab, exercises, lactose chats, and now we're doing pasta.
You know, you couldn't have said it better, because I think medicine or health, people neglect to see the holistic spectrum of health, right?
Yeah.
Spine health, you know, if you a little bit of weight reduction helps with the spine. So these things all tie into one another, and I really like that. I think that's what's so important about our health. It's such an holistic journey. To really get your health under control is quite a big thing.
Yes.
So that's why we're here to show you how to do it.
And you can't just wait for like summer. You have to actually do it all year round. It's very, very important. I've already switched that on for you, so we're going to get ready. I've got my little blender here, but let's start off with pasta.
Sure.
It seems to be a swear word for many people when it comes to health. Could we just break that down? I mean, somebody with Italian heritage, you know, pasta is basically a love language, but for anybody going on a health journey, we shouldn't be afraid of this type of carbohydrate, should we?
So, you know, I think there's been a big movement away from carbohydrates, which I kind of disagree with. They are essential for your energy throughout the day.
Exactly.
And if we utilize them correctly and at the correct time, they're an important part of our diet. This is actually chickpea pasta, right? So much lower glycemic index. It keeps you fuller for longer. It's got a lot more fiber. Whereas traditional pasta obviously doesn't have those benefits. Yeah. But you know, like if you make pasta at home and you use proper ingredients, it's really not a bad thing to incorporate into your diet. But for today, you know, chickpea pasta really has a lot of benefits. It fills the spot. It's really delicious.
It does look very good. And isn't that penne? So, I mean, that's going to
exactly.
be awesome to
So all we did was we just cooked this in boiling water according to the packet instructions. Whatever you want to use. You can use zucchini noodles. You can use whatever you want. You can use real pasta if you want as well. Okay. All of that's completely fine. Always, when you cook pasta, reserve 1 cup of cooking liquid. That's gold when you're making a pasta dish.
But it brings things together, doesn't it? It gives you that beautiful viscosity of that sauce.
Exactly.
It really is.
Ties the sauce to the pasta.
It does. So, I'm busy going ahead here. I've got... Cool. Are you a basil or a basil guy? Talk to me.
I'm a basil man.
Are you a basil man?
I'm a basil man.
Let's go basil.
Okay.
We're going to go basil.
So, we're making a pesto.
Yes.
Essentially a really easy recipe. You just throw everything into a blender. I'll just take you through the ingredients. This is a nice hearty spinach. Yeah, as much as you want. Like, it's probably about 2 cups if you compress it nicely. Okay. About half a cup of basil leaves. And then we have our health sort of augmentation there. We have the
health augmentation. Yes.
So we have the hemp hearts and we have nutritional yeast. Those 2 things add a little bit of texture to the sauce, but they add massive, massive health benefits. The hemp we spoke about earlier, it's got massively healthy fats. And then nutritional yeast has a whole host of really, really, really amazing health benefits.
All right.
So what you've done there, extra virgin olive oil, a little bit of almond milk if you want to keep this recipe completely vegan. You can chuck in the hemp hearts, about 2 tablespoons each of nutritional yeast and hemp hearts.
Nice. Well, I'm going to just go straight in.
Go in.
You know what?
Go
We've got all of our things balanced out.
About a tablespoon of lemon juice.
Lemon juice.
As with all pesto, you need a little bit of acidity. It really adds an amazing flavor.
And then
2 garlic cloves.
And note that I put the garlic cloves at the bottom because that's where these blades are going to hit them and chop them first. That's why.
You can also chop them first, but that's a really good little hack if you don't want to get your...
Yeah, I think you know what it actually does for me. It actually brings the aromatics permeate through it a lot better if it's hitting those blades, which I really enjoy.
Cool. So give that a blend. Shake it up a little.
It's my favorite thing to do. Once we work.
You can add a little bit of water. Let's take it up. So I told you this is gold.
Yes, because now this is working through our entire recipe, which is so good. All right, let's go for it.
Okay,
oh man,
give it another one.
That's brilliant. This is going to be delicious. And already, it just has that healthy feel.
And you can smell the basil already.
There it goes. That's what we're looking for.
That's the gold. Well, I don't know if they can hear me.
I can hear you.
So we take the pasta, heat a little bit of extra virgin olive oil in the pan. Pasta goes into the hot pan. As with everything in life, salt and pepper.
Yes,
so we've
please.
seasoned. You can also season the sauce, but at this point you want to make sure that the pasta is seasoned. Always a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper.
Oh, come on. This smells like it's already been processed and cooked already.
Take the honors. So that goes into the hot pan. So when you introduce pasta and a sauce together in a hot pan, you get a beautiful, beautiful sort of conglobulation of flavor.
Conglobulation? Michele, that's the vibe, dude. Yes. That's what we're looking for.
And then the gold. Ties the sauce to the pasta, a little bit of the reserved cooking liquid.
And then that goes down for how long? And so we're ready, we incorporate it, and the pasta's coated, and then we serve, right?
You heat it through till the sauce will thicken a little bit, and then you have a beautiful pasta dish. You can throw whatever you want in there, some textural elements.
This is great. Michele, thank you so much for this recipe. Is delicious. I think I'm going to try that one at home a little bit later, and you can as well. If you'd like to, go to expressoshow.com, get the ingredients in the recipe, and also if you make it, show us too. 063-408-8863. We'd love to see you try.
Oh, you can make my day.
1
Welcome back. It is your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso on S3. Now, man, I don't remember when I was last so excited to be chatting to young talent, and I'm talking multi-hyphenated performing artist Jodie Fredericks is no stranger to several of South Africa's most renowned stages. Being active in the music industry for 11 years, she has performed at festivals such as the Cape Town International Jazz Festival several times, and more recently at the World Jazz Festival in Mumbai. Let's take a listen at this incredibly talented young woman.
Don't hear me, don't fear me, but I don't need more. I'm someone who wants to take me home for the night. Stress me, undress me, and lock the door. Come into my body right. Show me you got me. Listen to my body. Make sure I come first, and baby I will quench your thirst. All I want is for my body to...
You know, and as I'm listening to that, I was saying to Jodie just now, as she was doing sound checks, I was trying to figure out in the mode of singing that you find yourself in. Yes, of course, there's a key that you resonate with, but your runs hit every single beautiful melodic note in that space. Where? It's from the gods.
It's from the Lord.
Come on now.
I'm joking.
Come on. No.
Oh, yeah, I'm not, but practice.
But listen, of course, a lot of hard work has gone into this 11 years later in the industry, and finally, I feel like your moment has arrived. Is that how you feel about this right now, all of the success that you're seeing?
I feel like things are happening.
Yeah.
I don't know what defines that moment, but I feel like there are certain things that are happening that are leading me to the things that I've been working towards.
Yes.
In short, kind of, yeah. But we're not there yet. But I'm so excited. Like so many incredible things have been happening. I'm super grateful.
People talk about an overnight success. If a night represents 11 years, then this is an overnight success. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I want to touch a little bit on some of the highlights that you've experienced in this year, which has been an extraordinary one. I can already see the smile that it brings up on your face as well. You performed at the World Jazz Festival in Mumbai, right?
Yes.
And this is you getting a chance to perform your very own music for the first time to an audience outside of South Africa.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that experience.
It was actually the craziest thing. I found out a month before I was leaving that I was leaving. Long story short, I entered a competition in 2019, and I didn't win it. I was awarded the Merit Award, but they needed a representative of that competition where 6 semi-finalists in the country were chosen, SAMRO, Overseas Scholarship.
Oh, wow, yes.
And they contacted me. They needed someone. They contacted me. They were like, I remember that you worked really hard and you were nice. And so because of that, I was able to go to Mumbai, perform, have an incredible time, work with some incredible musicians. The festival was run by Alexander Beats and Banyan Tree, and then I got to do a follow-up in Amsterdam in August, the World Jazz Festival in Amersfoort, which was an incredible experience, all happening from that and consistent hard work, I guess.
What a time. And I love that, you know, you not only do you work hard, but people remember how you made them feel.
Absolutely.
And somebody saying, you were nice to work with, you were nice to me.
Yeah.
And it comes back to you full circle, 10 folds over.
Yeah.
And then you've also had the opportunity of representing South Africa in France, I believe, right? In June, this happened at an intercultural exchange.
Yes.
Wow, what an experience that
was
must have
incredible. With some of my closest friends were with as well, and so that made the experience even better. But it was an incredible experience to learn from different cultures. It's an exchange between South Africa, France, Sweden, and Belgium. And so the next leg of that trip is in February to Belgium. But it's been incredible to just share and also receive, because the world is full of so many different cultures and different ways of experiencing and expressing music.
Yeah.
And I think it would be incredibly arrogant to think that once you are comfortable in your way of doing so, that's it.
I'm loving this
It
for
was
you.
incredible to just get to know other people and just bond.
Yeah, and one last thing I want to talk about. You have been accepted into one of the most prestigious music colleges in the world, Berkeley, in New York. I mean, as I'm there, guys, for real. You don't just get into Berkeley, all right? But you do need South Africa's help and our assistance and everyone to support you. And we want to do that. And so I want you to tell us how we can make this dream a possibility for you, bring it closer to you, because it's coming your way regardless. But how can we help to make that possible?
Okay. So we've started a Back a Body campaign, and that is accessible through the link on my socials, but if you're not on social media, it is fanlink.to, as in TO, /Jody Fredericks. And there's a BackaBuddy link over there. And if you are able to, please to donate. The cost come to 1.2 million, which includes tuition, accommodation, and just the bare minimum living expenses. And also, another way to support, not everyone's financially able to contribute. However, sharing a post, sharing the link, that does so much. Supporting a performance. I have a gig coming up on the 3rd of November at Cafe Roo in Noordhoek. That's also where you can purchase tickets through the fan link. There are so many ways in which you can support this journey by just watching it and telling people and maybe coming to a gig. And the smallest contribution helps me to get a step closer to where I really want to be. So every bit of help is welcomed and
I love that.
Thankfully welcomed. Thank you in advance.
I love that.
To, you know, support me.
Listen, we got like, what, 558,000 followers on Facebook. $10 from each. We're there. We'll get there. Come on, let's make it happen, South Africa. And we are lucky enough to actually have Jody performing live for us on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. And I can't wait for you to hear it. Don't miss out.
Support local. I feel like that's the main narrative of here, so please do support Jody. And of course, support your own destinations in your city. I'm sure on a weekend you're wondering where to go, what to see, where to eat. And there are such phenomenal places, world-class places that you can go to. And I'm talking about Stellenbosch, Franschhoek and Constantia wine valleys. Perhaps you want to go and explore and taste the beautiful food, in fact, world-class food. Maybe you want to look at the breathtaking views. Perhaps you'd like to enjoy some history and culture. You can all indulge in that. And here's a Franschhoek flex. Time magazine has said that Franschhoek is one of the top 50 best places to visit in the world. So if you'd like to go and visit that, the simple way to do it is to get yourself a priceless experience. All you have to do is just go to priceless.com/travel in South Africa today and choose any of their experiences. They are curated just for you, and with the added benefit of that MasterCard holders, you can get a discount of any of your beautiful destinations. And I mean, that is wonderful. It goes until the 31st of December. The whole idea is to celebrate your own cities, Stellenbosch, Constantia, Franschhoek, and share it widely and share it far as well. Go to priceless.com and get your curated experience. It is going to be absolutely beautiful.
Thank you, Carlito. Now I've got to talk about this. I've waited long enough. I've let it bottle up inside. It's about to explode. Tropica released a video on their social media pages yesterday. I'm sure a few of you have seen them, and it had the caption, "To celebrate 10 seasons, we thought it would be fitting to introduce another smooth twist ahead of our arrival in the Seychelles." So this season has already proven itself to indeed be full of smooth twists and turns. And now this morning, they have announced what this latest mind-blowing twist is. Take a look at this. Put a hashtag on that. Cat is back. Woo! And he's going to be joining the All-Stars in the Seychelles as the island host with the most. The second leg of Tropica Island of Treasure Season 10. Because it's an all-star season.
Oh, man.
So you got to come back.
Dude.
Congrats, dude. I know how much you love this space, how much fun you have playing and putting these poor celebs through their paces.
Everyone.
But you are the pain master. But no, I know how much you appreciate the opportunity to play in this space. Dude, how excited are you to be heading off to the Seychelles?
Firstly, the toughest secret to have kept for the long, like, it's been ages. And yeah, how much I appreciate being back on the show for the 10th season, the all-star season. I mean, my mind was blown away when I was invited to come back for a second chance at hosting the show, having been the first host to have been asked to come back to host consecutive seasons. And then when this all-star season came up, I was just super humbled and grateful at the opportunity to bring it all together, all of the stars that have been such a crucial part of the competition, and give them a second chance at winning this grand prize, the biggest prize in the history of the competition.
Of the competition, of all competitions, dude. Let's be honest, in a South African context, it doesn't get much bigger than this, certainly this year. And I'm glad you used the term bring it all back together, because this 10th season does have that feel.
Really
there is
does,
something really special about bringing back these competitors, and they are fierce competitors.
Big time.
You know them, you know the journey that they've been through. How much does it mean to them to win 500,000 Rand, just to start?
Well, that, and then remember, there's the 250,000 Rand each from Suzuki that comes along with that as well. So total package value, what, 750K, right? That's on the line.
Life-changing, yeah.
And it's not just that. It's the redemption, right? It's the coming back for another crack at it. Some of them might have been successful in previous seasons, and others have the chance to now prove themselves worthy. Yeah, exactly. So close. And you see it with every level of competition and every day that then passes, how much they're invested, especially the closer you get to that summit. And it becomes so real. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it right now. It was...
because there's always a twist.
Yeah?
There is always something happens in that final straight where the dark horse comes through. You're like, oh, why did you leave that one piece of the puzzle out? You just lost
what you were supposed to
750 grand. It's crazy. You're going to be jetting off to Constance-Ophelia.
Yeah.
This is paradise.
Probably one of my favorite resorts. It was the second time of me being at I'd been to Constance-Ophelia before. One of the most beautiful, well put together resorts that really just makes sure that, you know, when you talk about having a smooth experience, the smooth life, that's it. So well taken care of the last time that I was there, and really enjoyed it. And I know that it's going to be a worthwhile and a memorable experience for everyone involved, and especially for, you know, everyone who's going to be watching it from home, not only seeing the smooth life, but also getting to see some fierce competition as well.
Yeah, and feel it. And trust me, you need something to take the edge off the competition, because these poor contestants, they think they're going to paradise, but they get worked, man. Oh, it's so good to have you at that helm, my friend.
Let's go.
I called him the master of pain. But he is there also to enable these all-stars to get the most out of this experience, and of course you as well, because this is a journey that we get to walk together. So don't miss Kat's return to the island this Saturday, 6:30 on S3. We cannot wait. And just a quick reminder that you too as well stand a chance of winning, and winning big, with Tropica Island of Treasure when you just buy a Tropica. All you got to do, buy a promotional Tropica pack, follow the details on the pack, enter, and then stand a chance to win your share of thousands of smooth prizes.
Yeah, and there's lots to be won out there. There's airtime, there's data, AEG fridges, Island Tribe hampers, Rest Assured beds, plus limited edition Tropica bags. There are towels, tents, cooler bags and cushions, all the things you need for the summer season ahead. And of course, the more Tropica you buy, the more chances you stand to win. And those T's and C's can be found on clover.co.za. But one thing I've got to remind you of, remember this phrase, Mawa ou après. You're going to be hearing that quite a lot.
Mawa ou après.
I love that.
All right.
You're in the
What does it mean?
vibes.
What does it mean?
See you later.
I'll see you later, man.
Something big is coming this Saturday evening on Tropica Island of Treasure All-Stars. Catch me, Katla Khumabue, your island host, as I welcome our 7 teams to the Seychelles.
But what a twist. What a twist.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for. And they are off. It's a painstaking process.
Now what do I do? Just calm down.
Let the games begin on Tropica Island of Treasure All-Stars, Saturday evenings at 6:30, only on S3.
Dad, I hope you're ready. We've got to go. Guys! Okay, guys, come on.
We connect all of Mzansi so that everyone can be more of what they're made of. Live your Munati.
Feel Good Breakfast Show. Welcome back. You're live on S3, and in the next couple of moments, this talent, Jodie Fredericks, will perform for you. In the meantime, go check it out, JoFred_Vox, and click the link on the bio to make sure you support her and take it to Berkeley. As we get into news, Kat is standing by.
Thanks very much, Mr. Wasty. The time just gone 8 o'clock. Let's take a look at the news headlines this morning. On the national news front, the Minister of Social Development, Lindiwe Zulu, has called on family members of orphans to apply for the supplement of a child maintenance allowance. Now, the government has increased the basic child maintenance allowance for orphans in the care of relatives from 480 Rand to 720 Rand. Now, some 16,000 orphans have so far been registered for the grant, and according to Zulu, this figure is very low. She says the additional amount came into effect on June the 1st. Now, the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development incurred more than 900 million Rand in irregular expenses in the 2021 and 22 financial year. The department's annual report was presented in Parliament. The irregular expenses are more than in the previous financial years, and the report showed that some 600 million Rand of the irregular expenses are being investigated by forensic auditors for possible fraud and collusion. The Auditor General, Tsakani Maluleke, said some of the irregular expenses were related to the bid requirements for the appointment of a security company for 863 million Rand. On the international news front this morning, Kenya intends to press on with the building of a natural gas pipeline from Tanzania's main city, Dar es Salaam, to its coastal city of Mombasa and later to the capital, Nairobi, in a bid to lower energy tariffs, Kenya's President William Ruto has said. Now, the cost of the 600-kilometer pipeline will be about $1.1 billion. Ruto spoke yesterday shortly after holding bilateral talks with President Samia Suluhu of Tanzania on his first visit to the neighboring country since he took office in September. Ruto said the project would lower energy tariffs in Kenya's industrial sector. In other headlines, the European Union said the latest Russian missile attacks in Ukraine amount to war crimes. The European Commission described the attacks on civilians and civilian infrastructure in Kiev and other cities as barbaric and cowardly. According to Ukraine, 83 Russian missiles were fired at targets in various cities yesterday morning, and 43 of these were shot down by Air Ukraine defense systems. Among the buildings hit were the German consulate's visa office in Kiev and several key infrastructure points. 11 deaths have been reported so far, and some 60 people have been wounded. And then finally, Sedgefield-based charity Masitandane held its 6th annual Garden Route Kite Festival at Karatara near Knysna this weekend. And it was a true celebration of being outdoors and flying kites, regardless of age, ability, or disability. It also fell on the same day as in an international event where kites were launched for peace around the world. Now, in addition to the kite launch, there was also a dog show and children's activities for families and their four-legged friends. Masitandane chairperson Jackie Weaver said the main aim of the day was to raise funds for a worthy cause. And she said, quote, "Funds are needed for our scholarship fund because we have children who live in Sedgefield where there is no high school. They had to travel all the way to either Knysna or George. And currently, the fund supports 32 children studying at high school and also lends a hand with toiletries, boarding fees, and so on." Thus, all agree that flying a kite is a good way to take your eyes off your cell phones and their screens and enjoy the fresh air and beautiful sights in the sky, all while supporting a fantastic cause. And we congratulate the team on an amazing effort, wishing them all the best in the future. Well, that's it for the news on this morning. Let's take one final look at the sporting headlines with Graham.
Thanks so much, Kat. Always bittersweet when we see one of our favourites leaving local shores, and it looks like Springbok and Stormers prop Stephen Kitsoff is believed to be close to confirming a deal with Irish club Ulster. And that's according to Irish website Independent IE. That Kitsoff has already, quote, agreed terms to join Ulster after the 2023 Rugby World Cup. So Kitsoff is still contracted to the Stormers up until 2024, but a source says that the URC champions will most likely not stand in the 30-year-old's way way if he wants to be relieved from his contract earlier. Kitshoff, of course, captained the Stormers to the URC title last season and would be an incredible addition to Ulster. And these are the stories we hate reporting on as we turn to football. Enoch Mwepu has been forced to end his playing career following the diagnosis of a hereditary heart condition. So the condition, which can worsen over time, would put the Zambian at an extremely high risk of suffering a potentially fatal cardiac event if he were to continue playing competitive football. Now, Mwepu had recently fallen ill on a trip with Zambia's national team to Mali. The 24-year-old was unable to train after arriving in West Africa last month and then spent 4 days in hospital. And he had tests on his return to England and Brighton, and the results meant that the, quote again, only option was for him to sadly retire. And we turn to Formula One, bit of a twist in the tail. We'll see if there are going to be any repercussions. So Red Bull have been found guilty of breaking Formula One's budget cap by the sports governing body, the FIA. Red Bull exceeded the 145 million rand limit during 2021, the FIA said, adding that the offence was, quote, minor, the lower of the two categories of breach, in fact. And this means the team exceeded the cap by less than 5%, or $7.25 million. Now, both Red Bull and Aston Martin were also found guilty of procedural breach of the cap. The FIA said it was, quote, currently determining the appropriate course of action to be taken. And while there's been a lot of negative sentiment around the Live Golf Series, one man who is celebrating today, two-time major winner Dustin Johnson, I'm sure will be the first on the waiting list for next year's tour. He has pocketed $18 million after securing the inaugural Live Golf Individual Championship. This according to organisers of the Breakaway Tour yesterday. The American has had 5 top 10 finishes in the opening 6 events of the Saudi-backed series, including a dramatic win at the Live Golf Invitational in Boston. The 38-year-old finished 16th at the Bangkok tournament, which ended on Sunday, and now has an insurmountable lead in that individual standings, with one regular season event still remaining. But he is $18 million richer. And on that note is where we leave our sporting headlines for this morning. Let's get one last look at the roads and see what the weather has in store today.
Thanks a lot, G. Let's take a peek at your traffic as you leave for work this morning. I'll start you in the Western Cape, Cape Town. There is congestion on the N2 inbound at the Jakes Gerwel ramp. You can expect delays, so please add some extra travel time on your journey this morning. And then let's go to Pretoria, Proefplaas. There has been an accident on the N1 southbound after Proefplaas interchange. The left shoulder of the road is closed. And then Westville in KZN, there's an accident on the N2 southbound before the EB Klutter interchange. The ramp has been blocked. Please use an alternative route if possible this morning. That's a wrap up of your traffic. Let's take a peek at your weather. Before I get to your temperatures and sunrise views, let's take a look at some of the weather news. Now, the mercury is expected to rise significantly in the days ahead. This as the South African Weather Service has warned that a heat wave with persistently high temperatures is expected in the low veld of Mpumalanga as well as Limpopo from tomorrow until Friday. Meanwhile, the United Nations, the UN and the Red Cross said yesterday that heat waves would become so extreme in certain regions of the world within decades that human life there would be unsustainable. Extreme heat waves are predicted in the Sahel, the Horn of Africa, and South and Southwest Asia, triggering large-scale suffering and loss of life. In a joint report, the UN and the Red Cross warned that heat waves, catastrophes this year in countries such as Somalia and Pakistan foreshadow a future with deadlier, more frequent and more intense heat-related humanitarian emergencies. The UN and the Red Cross have released the report in advance of next month's UN's COP27 climate change summit that will be held in Egypt. Now for our final weather update this morning, we had this amazing photo sent over from Nancy Governor, who snapped this dazzling view from Pennington, KZN, before stepping onto the sand to take a morning stroll. Diane van der Werfen captured her perspective of the sun radiating through the clouds out in Howick. Just stunning stuff over there. And Roy Fitton sent in this ocean view from Gqeberha. Sun rising over the ocean this bright and beautiful Wednesday. It looks gorgeous. And last up, Owen out in Lakeside, who took this shot from his balcony of the graceful sky with beautiful colors lighting up the lake. We do appreciate all the sunrise views, so keep on sending them, even if you are abroad. 063-408-8863. We'd love to feature you on your Feel Good Breakfast show as we take a peek at your temperatures. Now, let's start off in Polokwane. 14 is your minimum, and you'll jump up to 32 a little bit later. Mbombela, 17, rising to 33. Pretoria, 15 to 32 today. And Johannesburg, you get a high of 30 on the cards, 14 as you wake up this morning. King, for you, 17, rising to 32. Klerksdorp, 16 is your minimum to a max of 34. Kimberley, 20 to 35. And then Bloemfontein, 13, you rise to a very, very hot 33 degrees Celsius. Let's go over to Richards Bay, 23 up to 31. Pietermaritzburg, 18 to 34. Durban, 21 is your low to a high of 29. And then Mthatha, 15 is your minimum, but you're going to rise to 36. So please hydrate if you are in that area today. East London, 19 to 33. Cradock, 13. You rise to 36. Gqeberha, you've got 17 on the cards, 27 with some winds expected, but don't worry about that too much. The heat is what you should be focusing on. George, 15 to 23. Cape Town, 15 to 22. Worcester, 32 is your high from a low of 12. Sutherland, you can expect 27 as a maximum, and you've got 11 as a minimum for you. And then look at that temperature for you, Uppington, 39 degrees Celsius. So naturally, I'd love for you to hydrate, stay safe, find some shade, and don't throw it, and enjoy your morning with your Feel Good Breakfast Show.
No, we don't want to throw no shade.
I like where you're at, Mr.
Yeah,
I like where you at.
See, it's because he had that button undone.
It's been coming.
Yeah, it has been coming. So, like Mr. Wasty, we want you to add some sunshine to the lives of those around you, because it really does make a difference.
Yep.
You can spread some hope and kindness this Hopetober with Adcock Ingram, OTC, officially the sponsors of Brave. And the good news, you also stand the chance of winning 2,000 Rand cash daily just by answering our call, our weekly competition question. And this week was more of a challenge. We asked you guys to tell us how you spread hope to those around you, and we received thousands of the most heartwarming responses. So hopefully we've made the world a better place just by doing that.
Absolutely. You read through those comments, and that should certainly make you feel better. And you talk about rising to that challenge, to that call. Our latest winner has certainly done that. And congratulations once again. Drum roll, please. I mean, you have a look at that message. Oh, my goodness. Shall I go ahead and read it for you?
Do it.
Okay.
Go for it.
So this is what she had to say. She says, I'm a mentor, and I spread hope to women who are victims of GBV and children who are being bullied. I help empower women to make their own living by starting small gardens at home that help feed their families, and also to sell and get some money of their own. I also go to schools to teach children to learn to accept themselves and never to allow bullies to break them down. I was once a victim of all of this, and someone gave me hope, and that is why I'm also giving others hope. Hashtag Hopetober, hashtag sponsors of Brave. That is absolutely incredible.
I mean, we speak about living in the service of others. We've got this roadmap in this country of how much more effective we can be when we work together. But on this level, the depth of emotion in her words, the fact that she's been through this, amazing. I need to speak to this incredible human being, and I think we've got Mudau on the line right now. Mudau, a very good morning and congratulations.
A very good morning to you too, and thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, my goodness. We are so inspired by you. I feel like saying Oshila.
Yeah.
You feel like a, a big sister, family member. Absolutely incredible. 2,000 Rand coming your way. But I want to just maybe, in terms of the people that you've spoken to, the people that you're helping, what have been some of the feedback that you've gotten from them?
People are very grateful because it's very hard for them to move from abuse and bullying. So I have helped them. They're able to see that it's possible they can get out of that situation. And they are also inspiring others to do the same. So all I can say is that my help is expanding to others. Everyone is being able to help others also.
I love you. I love the fact that you have made this a pillar of your life. I mean, we want to be more kind. We want to spread hope, but it feels like this is a part of your everyday life. Why is it so important for you to be a mentor, to help those children who went through similar experiences as you did? Why do you spend so much time spreading hope? Why is it important to you?
Yeah, I feel like there's a gap that is not being spared, because bullying is something that is happening every day.
Yeah.
Kids are being bullied, and it's hard for children to accept themselves. That's why it's so important to me, because I struggled a lot as a child. So I don't want other children to struggle as I am. I missed the opportunities because I was being bullied. I couldn't accept myself until somebody held my hand and said, there's nothing wrong with you. And I finally saw that, yeah, there's nothing wrong. So that's why it's important for me to hold the hands of other children who are living in my community, to show them that you are perfect. It's the society that is having standards that do not accommodate everyone. But all in all, we are all human beings, and we are made different, but we are all the same.
Wow. Well, listen, Oshila, thank you very, very much for what you do for the community, what you represent. This 2,000 Rand in terms of the Hopetober campaign from Adcock Ingram OTC Sponsors of Brave is just a small way of saying thank you, but I can feel the impact that you're going to have in this country going forward is going to be so much more than that. So I hope that you enjoy the 2,000 Rand and have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much. I'm going to enjoy it. Thank you, thank you. And also thank you for giving me the platform to talk about what I do. I hope others are inspired too.
I've no doubt. Well, we are inspired, girls. So I have no doubt that others have been inspired. I think we need to bring you back as one of our experts on this couch for our next panel discussion, because you're just wonderful. So congratulations to Madao. And of course, you guys at home, you have the opportunity to have your voice heard as well. And of course, win that 2,000 Rand cash prize as a result, courtesy of Adcock Ingram OTC, the sponsors of Brave.
Yeah, keep an eye open on our weekly competition question on the Expresso Show Facebook page, our Twitter page, our Instagram pages as well. And don't forget to hashtag Hopetober and hashtag sponsors of Brave.
Hopetober is a month of hope, brought to you by Adcock Ingram OTC, sponsors of Brave, inspiring communities one pharmacy at a time.
So let's give you some hope in the form of some talent that I would love for you to support. If you go over to JoeFred_Vox on Instagram, click on the link in the bio, and you'll be led to a certain fund page. I want you to go see if you can contribute and get this talent to Berkeley. Her name is Jodie Fredericks, and she joins us to give a first performance, a powerhouse song that I think is going to really touch you if you've been through the situation. Breakups are difficult, and of course, sometimes you are left with withdrawal symptoms. Here's Jodie.
In a good home, good morals and good lessons. I was never into drugs, no. But then you came along and good returns. You're the drug I need to get out of my system. They say you're killing me, but when you're not around, I feel like I'm dying. I sit home, I am home, dusk till dawn. I'm confused. My withdrawal symptoms from your broken heart. Sleep all day, I cry at night. I'm so bruised. These are my withdrawal symptoms from you. Yeah. I was raised in a good home, but now without you in my life, it feels like I'm losing it all. I'm losing my all. I think it's time I get you out of my system. I thought I'd never survive. Now I'm finally starting to feel alive. I sit down. I am home, that's still gone. I'm confused. My withdrawal symptoms from your broken heart. Sleep all
Defeat your mucus monster. Mucofizz. Loosen mucus and phlegm for clearer airways. Brought to you by Pharmacodynamics.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your Tuesday morning on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. This is Expresso on S3. Now, last month, the glittering Miss Teen Tourism Universe pageant took place in Mzansi, and only one young lady came out on top, and she's here with us today, 18-year-old Lisolethu Jacobs, who represented Cape Town and walked away as the overall queen of the pageant. Her tenacity and her empathy for teens like herself made her victory so much more deserving. Ladies and gentlemen, Africa Borwa Kabo Para. Let's give it up for Lisolethu Jacobs! Ululate! Celebrate! Queen, it's great to have you with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Ah, you must be on cloud 9 right now. Have you managed to kind of let the excitement settle in since your name was announced as the winner?
Definitely. I mean, it still feels like a dream. I keep pinching myself every second just to, like, you know, remind myself that, oh, okay, you're Miss Teen Tourism Universe now.
And this is really, really happening. And you were telling me just now that as soon as you got off the stage and the crown was on your head, duties commenced immediately. What have you been busy with?
So, being Miss Teen Tourism Universe South Africa, you are actually required to do a lot of charity work and fundraising events for what you advocate for, of which it's my advocacy is children well-being and their health. So as soon as I got my crown, I made sure that I impacted the lives of the young children in South Africa positively, where we donate clothes, food and sanitary towels to the less fortunate, which actually helps them. And it's a way for me to show my gratitude to them, because my love for kids is unmatchable. It's beyond this world.
That's absolutely brilliant. We'll talk a little bit about that just now. I want to touch on Teen Girl Talk, the online platform that you have that contributes, as you said now, to the well-being of young people, teenagers, and you run it on Instagram, right? Yes. What is Teen Girl Talk all about?
Right, so Teen Girl Talk with Lisolethu Jacobs actually started during lockdown in 2020, where I saw a gap in the market that teenagers are actually suffering, you know, staying in one place, not being used to doing their daily activities. So I believed that me doing the Teen Girl Talk campaign would actually open up more ideas and more opportunities for people to be comfortable in where they are and find comfortability in their area where they are not used to staying at home all the time. So I actually started the campaign to contribute to their mental health, as that is what I stand for. And it was something that helped a lot of people from depression, and we also speak about teenage pregnancies and abortions, stuff that teenagers nowadays are actually facing.
Yeah, and things that are quite taboo to sometimes have a conversation with the closest people in your life, especially when you need their support. That's absolutely brilliant. And it doesn't stop there. You have a foundation called Fix a Smile, through which you are impacting the lives of children. Tell me about that. And it also kind of suits exactly the field of study that you're going into.
Yes. So hashtag Fix a Smile Foundation was actually started in 2019 based on my story, where in primary school and the early years of high school, I got bullied for my teeth and got called names for how skewy my teeth are. So I decided, with the help of my mother, because I feel like I wouldn't have overcome what I was going through had it not been for my mom being there for me and encouraging me and actually making me see the importance of why God created me the way I am. I created the foundation to fix smiles of children who were born with cleft lips and cleft palates in the Red Cross War Memorial Children's Hospital, where we collect bread tags, bottle caps, and also donate money to help with the surgeries, because the children's smiles needs to be fixed, and I know the pain that they're feeling, and it's probably beyond what I felt, but it's definitely something that I wish to push into in the future to actually better and
Yeah, you're doing
events.
absolutely fantastic and such important work as well. It's not just about, you know, fixing a smile. It's about potentially changing the future trajectory of a child if you understand the impact of a cleft palate on a child who's unable to feed at a very crucial time of their life. So well done on that.
Thank you so much.
And with that and the responsibility of, you know, the royal crown that you wear on your head as Miss Teen Tourism, I want to ask you for your message of hope for South Africa, for the young people of South Africa. We're in the month of October. We call it Hopetober, and we're spreading hope as well. So what is your message of hope?
My message for hope is to never let anyone tell you that you cannot do something. I believe so. I'm such a go-getter that I believe so much in going for what I want and working so hard that at the end of the time that the work that I worked for, I feel relaxed. I feel at ease because at the end of the day, I know that I made a difference in someone's life. I would also like to share that as teenagers, we do go through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's something that we don't normally talk about. So I just really encourage a lot of people to ask for assistance in seeking help and enjoying their teenagers.
Absolutely. Love it. You're an absolutely perfect advocate, and I wish you all of the best in your year of reign.
Thank you so
Our very
much.
own Miss Teen Tourism Universe SA, Lisolethu Jacobs. Take a look at social media at Liso the model on social media, where you can then, of course, support all of her efforts.
Oh, thank you so much, Kat. A superstar in the making. Absolutely love it. Go and support her and her efforts in every way you can. If you thought that was the perfect nod towards this amazing country, let's give you a few more. And seeing as we're focusing on tourism, well, now is the perfect time to be a tourist in your own country, because we live in the best country in the world. Come on. So every weekend we wonder what to do, where to go, what to eat, maybe what to drink. So why not choose a truly priceless experience at one of the many award-winning estates in Stellenbosch, in Franschhoek and the Constantia Wine Valley. I'm talking wine tastings, wine pairings. You can forget about the wine, just take in the beautiful views, the phenomenal food, some of the best in the world, and of course the history and the culture. And in fact, Time magazine even voted Franschhoek as one of the world's top 50 greatest places to visit. Bar none. Awesome. We are lucky to have it right here on our doorstep. So go out and explore. Your first stop, online, priceless.com/travel in South Africa. Go and have a look and then choose any of the curated experiences that tickle your fancy, with the added benefit that if you're a MasterCard holder, you get some pretty amazing discount offers as well. And those offers will be valid up until the 31st of December. So you've got plenty of time to treat yourself, to start planning that beautiful full-on getaway for the whole family, because you all deserve it.
Tropica is back with the best of the best in the All-Star Season 10 of Tropica Island of Treasure. All the stars will be competing to win big, and so can you. Simply buy a Tropica promo pack, follow the details, and enter for a chance to win your share of thousands of smooth prizes.
The more you buy, the more chances you stand to win.
Catch the All-Star Season of Tropica Island of Treasure on Saturdays at 6:30 on SABC3.
Tropica, nothing smoother. James is on a long overdue holiday, all because he chose to invest in an electronic Optimum Plus account. Yes, seriously. Be like James. open a Nedbank Electronic Optimum Plus account and get an effective interest rate of up to 12.4%.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back once again. This is your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso on S3. What an inspiring morning we're having today. And of course, we talk to our next guest who is daring. She's impact-driven, unbreakable. Just a few of the words that describe her. She's Mrs. SA 2022 finalist, Ntswaki Sibiya, and she wears the hats of wife, of mom, businesswoman, and she's forging her path in the industry of private security, a path that is traditionally dominated by men. And not only is Mrs. Sibiya pursuing personal and career growth for herself, but also for the advancement of women like herself. And it's fantastic to have her here once again. Afrika Borwa ka bophara. Give it up for Ntswaki! Celebrate! Jubilate!
Thank you so much.
My goodness.
Thank you so much.
I've got to say, I love your energy. From behind the scenes to right here on the couch, absolutely incredible to have you here.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
Such a warm welcome.
It's only just a pleasure. You are involved in so many things and that you execute and live up to on an exceptional level. Talk to me about your journey into entrepreneurship, especially in the security business, how you got into that.
So my roots are where I discovered that entrepreneurship was a career option for me. My late father was an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And my mother, although she was a teacher, she also had her own businesses on the side as well. So entrepreneurship, leadership, and a strong work ethic were introduced to me very early in childhood. And so, yes, with security in particular, I was then introduced to that industry in 2013 when I joined a security company as a receptionist.
Wow.
And yeah, within a year working at that security company, I was then promoted to operations manager. And so that is where the journey and the passion for the industry and the people working in the industry was ignited.
Absolutely stunning. And I'm wondering to myself, you know, how is it that you then have time for everything that you're doing? I mean, you're running a full-fledged business, and here you are, you're your wife as well, you're mom, you're involved in business, and now you've launched yourself into the Mrs. SA
100%.
platform as well, which obviously gives you the ability to have a huge impact all across the country. And I wonder, what are some of your aspirations and your reasons for wanting to be part of this platform?
I'm in pursuit of personal mastery as I grow into my purpose. And I'm also a firm believer of personal development of oneself in order for you to show up better for yourself, for your talents, and people that are in your space, you know, whether it be in work environment, your family, etc. And so for me, this journey on Mrs. South Africa has been centered a lot around that personal development and acquiring those life skills and that transformation that allows me to fulfill my highest expression as a married woman. And so that's why I've pursued this journey. You know, it's a lot about self-development, it's a lot about personal mastery, and it's a lot about showing up for myself so that I can show up better for my talents.
I hope the judges are listening. Of course, you're doing incredible work as well through the Letutando Foundation as well, where you're helping to uplift and upskill women as well, which is absolutely incredible. And I wonder what your message of hope would be to those women in your mentorship program and to the broader South Africa as well. We're all about spreading hope during the month of Hopetober.
Oh, lovely. For me, it's putting yourself out there. Be brave enough and bold enough to put yourself out there on platforms such as Mrs. South Africa. You know, there are certain skills and life lessons that one learns and principles that you learn that could catapult you to the next level. And so those are the messages that I sort of communicate to people on my platform, in my foundation. I mean, our foundation focuses a lot on entrepreneurial development programs and leadership programs, whereby we assist women build that confidence and capability to be confident enough to participate on your corporate and government supply chains.
Okay.
So
and step into
that space confidently. And so that's what we position them for that. And so, I mean, my message to them is, you know, you've got to be bold and brave enough to put yourself out there and to be confident enough to work full capacity, you know? Yeah.
Absolutely love it. And I'm wishing you all of the best.
Thank you.
With the competition.
Thank
It's
you
going
so
to be a
much.
fierce one indeed.
It
And I'm
is.
sure that you're going to show up for yourself in the most amazing way. But do stick around because we're going to have some fun with you. You know that, right? We're going to have some fun and games coming up with Mrs. South Africa finalist Ntswaki Sibi. Hopetober is a month of hope, brought to you by Adcock Ingram OTC, sponsors of Brave, inspiring communities one pharmacy at a time.
More talent for you in your Feel Good Breakfast Show, and this lovely lady, her name is Jodie Fredericks. Remember the name, stream the music. This one is called Mutual. Enjoy.
I've been meaning to ask you, tell me the way to your heart. Please tell me, boy, 'cause I don't know where to start. But every time I see you, my feelings go deeper for you. And I wanna know if this is mutual. So boy, tell me what is the way to your heart. Boy, tell me what is the way to your heart. Boy, tell me what is the way to your heart. 'Cause I wanna know if this is mutual. I wanna know if this is mutual. I woke up this morning with you on my mind. 'Cause all I see in my future is you and I. And every time I see you, my feelings go deeper for you. And I wanna know if this is mutual. I wanna know if this is mutual. So boy, tell me, what is the way to your heart? Boy, tell me what is the way to your heart. Boy, tell me what is the way to your heart.
Welcome back, you beautiful souls. It's about to get real. Yes, the Expresso pageant is back, dun dun dun, after a nail-biting question round last Friday between Mrs. South Africa, the reigning Joe Judnick-Wilson, and the Mrs. SA CEO, Joni Johnson. It's time to put our next two queens through the ringer. From now on, I'm stripping you of any titles that you may have won, just momentarily, okay? Just momentarily. Any future titles, they mean nothing next to the title of being the Expresso pageant queen. Okay, now I know it gets tough out there. When you're in the spotlight, you've got to be able to answer the questions, okay? It gets very difficult. We're going to put you on the moment right now and create a battle of the generations, all right? Are you up for the challenge, ladies?
It's fine.
It is going to be very difficult, but I have high hopes. Okay, so this is how it's going to work. Our ladies will be posed a random question or a statement, and then they will have 30 seconds to give us a well-versed and carefully thought-out response before the clock runs out. It's just like any other normal day, really. Okay, so we're going to kick it off, and it's going to be fun because with us, whether you fail spectacularly or get it right, it's still great entertainment value, so we don't mind at all. And so, Aki, we're going to start with you. All right, so this is a tough one. There is nothing more satisfying than social time, unless it gets in the way of a peaceful night in. How do you gracefully bow out of a peer function you promised to attend months ago? 3, 2, 1, go for it.
Well, that exposes me. Well, I gracefully mentioned that, unfortunately, I cannot attend the function because my daughter, I always use my daughter as my pull-out game. My daughter has fallen ill or has hurt a finger.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You've got to be a mama. Mama first. As a Mrs. South Africa,
Absolutely.
you've got to be a mama
Priorities,
first. I get that.
Priorities.
And now all of your friends know your sneaky ways. We have blown you out of the water. Lisolethu, okay, that was a great start. The gauntlet has been thrown down. Lisolethu, the world of snack foods is at a dramatic standstill right now. Please bring the peace by stating whether a hot dog is a sandwich or not.
Oh my gosh.
And please provide a reason for your very controversial answer.
A hot dog is a sandwich because it is made out of bread, and we use bread to make sandwiches.
The facts don't lie. Gonna hit him hard with the facts, okay?
Just like that.
Drops much. Didn't even need it a full 30 seconds. She drops her hot dog sandwich and leaves the stage. Brilliant. I love it. So, okay. This one is going to get interesting. As a public figure, you're always meeting new and interesting people, okay? As your circle grows, so does the pressure to remember names. Dun, dun, dun. What do you do when a random morning at a grocery store, you bump into someone who claims to know who you are, but you can't remember them at all?
I run with it. Honestly, with my type of energy, I run with it and make them feel very warm, very welcome, and I'll figure it out later. If I don't, well, at least I left them with a good experience and a good, warm experience.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I feel better already, so I can feel it. Lisolethu, your final question, okay? There are people who squeeze their toothpaste out of the tube, and then there are people who roll it out of the tube, okay? This is going to be quite a telling answer. Which kind of a person are you, and why is your way the superior method of getting your toothpaste out the tube? Go.
Squeezing is more better than rolling. I feel like you can get more out from squeezing than rolling, and I believe that with my characteristics, I'm more of a person that tries to get everything intact to be able to push it out and make everything a good one.
Yeah, squeeze every last drop out of life, okay?
I'm pretty sure we passed this pageant.
You passed this flying colours. You're both amazing. What you're doing with this platform that you've been afforded is dramatic. I was going to ask you why you should win Mrs. South Africa, but I think you've proven that already. To both of these princesses, queens, future queens, you are doing the most for everyone around you. So thank you so much for that. Can we get one round of applause for, I'm going to say, 2 champions of our Expresso pageants? Beautiful. Well done, ladies. Well done.
Wonderful inspiration on your Feel Good Breakfast show this morning. And this morning we are also exploring hemp and all its uses, and what better way to make use of this high in a mega popular multi-use plant than in a scrumptious plant-based burger. Yes, the whole world is now moving towards this plant-inspired, plant-powered kind of lifestyle. So to make sure that we give you all kinds of ideas that you can explore in your kitchen, we're about to make some burgers that are inspired by the plant life. And you were saying to me that you've experimented, you've dabbled?
I have dabbled. The processing it's quite interesting to get into, but it's just really worth it in terms of the nutritional value and the protein that you can get. I think that protein's always been associated with meats, but there's a lot of protein in something like hemp and fiber that we often forget in our diet. So this is what we're going to do today.
Okay.
We're going to make this entire burger, all of these ingredients. We've got some chickpeas here that we mashed together.
You got your black gloves on.
I've got my black gloves clearly. Then I've got the roasted butternut over here, roasted beetroot. You've got hemp hearts, hemp flour, smoked paprika, salt, cumin. All of them goes in. It forms a beautiful patty.
Yeah.
And then you'll put it into the fridge to set up for 2 hours, and then you're good to fry.
Okay, good stuff. Let's mix it up.
So this is how we gonna roll.
So those you've just simply roasted, right? Like you're saying, nothing too complicated.
That's it. That's all we've done. And I think this is
Mash
where
it up.
you can, I'm sure you can get the kids involved, the entire family can get involved in this part where you're shaping it. And also, don't be too hard on yourself with the shape of these burgers. It's about the taste, the flavor. I think that's exactly what happens. Also, the hearts, that's the binding. I think it's great for structural integrity of your patties. And then the hemp flour, once again, we're just adding nutritional value. Smoked paprika, that's aromatic, and it's got a little bit of spice to it. Salt, seasoning, cumin, the staple when it comes to
Look at you, man. Look at you.
And then we roll with it, and this is where we get involved and get stuck in.
Does it feel weird?
It does have this texture. It's a very interesting texture, but I think that once you get everything incorporated...
Yeah. You know what I loved about what you said about getting the children involved?
Yes.
If you're that fortunate to have those enthusiastic kind of kids that want to help out with everything.
Yeah.
This is an ideal opportunity for you to educate them on food, right? And the fact that you eat for nutrition, for function.
Yes.
And of course, there's the delight part of it as well, but this is how you kind of feed your body, because food is medicine as well. It heals you from the inside out.
And that's the great thing about it, is that we can actually do this. You can set it up. They can make their own sizes. And, at the moment, as it gets colder, that's when the magic
really
starts happening and starts setting up. And, I mean, look, that's like a big burger.
That's a big one.
I've created.
It's a big boy burger.
The great thing about TV, as you know, my brother...
You can pop that back in there.
Okay.
I'm going to mix it up properly so that we can enjoy some burgers after the show as well.
Love it.
And then in the meantime, you can pop those on.
And then let's go for it. And then I've got some...
oil.
Already sort of the little items over there that you can continue with, but let's get this pan hot, let's get this seared, and let's get this going.
So I guess then it is about, you've cooked the butternut, you've cooked the beetroot through the roasting process. So when it comes to this, it's just really about getting it firm enough for it to be able to settle on your burger, and because everything else has already been prepared, right?
That's how it goes. And everything else, I mean, all of these will caramelize, and they're going to make sure that it's sort of locked in, nothing's going to break apart. Then we're going to head on to our burger. We've got some vegan mayonnaise over there, some arugulas, some pickled jalapeno, you've got some tomato over there, and then throw them all together and enjoy.
La presentation on the right over there is what it would look like with some sweet potato fries as well. Yeah, brilliant, healthy way to get the family to really get all of their veggies in. And you do a meal like this once or twice a week. Nutrition levels just, looking after you. It's a Health Tuesday. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Oh my goodness, all this food talk has gotten us a lot more excited about the next episode of Colour Your Plate with Koo, of course happening tonight, 7 p.m. on SABC2. Oh, the final 5 potential cooking stars will be fighting for their spot in the next round with 1 hour on the clock, and it goes fast, during which they must create a winning plate featuring mixed vegetables tonight. So joining the panel is our guest judge. It's TV personality and reality star superstar Mpumi Mops. The big question, who will earn that final spot in the next round, making the top 8 contestants? The show is not to be missed. And what I love the most about it, it inspires us everyday cooks out there. And you're going to see some inspirational performances from the contestants' creations. They are amazing. They stand a chance of winning a seat at that finale table and on the judging panel. So you, the viewers, can play a part in this show. What you have to do to enter, You've got to watch the weekly challenge on the show tonight, then cook up a nutritious meal using Koo's hero ingredients. Then you've got to head over to Koo's social media channels, post your photo, your meal description, and hashtag it. Color your plate with Koo in the comments section of that competition post. And remember, don't miss tonight's episode at 7 p.m. for that Inspiration Plus. You get to see who makes it through to the next round of the competition. And if you want to get even more excited, take a look at this.
This Tuesday evening at 7 on Color Your Plate with Koo, our last 5 passionate foodies have 1 hour to impress the judges and earn a spot in the next round.
This week we are focusing on Koo mixed vegetables.
Joining the judging panel is reality TV star, model and mother Mpumi, aka Mrs. Mobs.
Shine bright like a diamond, girl. Boo, 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 boo.
That's Color Your Plate with Koo, Tuesday evenings at 7, only on SABC2.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
It is your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso here at S3, and we have one more performance just for you. Jodie Fredericks is back, and this song is called More. It's yours.
Concerned with ever being the main chick. Every man that be coming into my private place better be up and running that same night. Always a chase, round and around in the same cycle we go. So don't approach me thinking that you finally made the right catch. But for tonight I'm gonna shoot my shot and do what I do best, and the rest will manifest as it should. So hear me, don't fear me, but I don't need more than someone who wants to take me home for the night. Don't stress me, undress me, and lock the door and come into my body right. Show me you got me, listen to my body, make sure I converse, and baby I will quench your thirst. All I want is for my body to be explored. I do not want more. How there's something that feels so wrong.
This spring, here's to Mother Nature and all the other mums who bring wonders into our world. Made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.
Overboard, not too late. Hear me, don't fear me, but I don't need more. Someone who wants to take me home. Don't stress me, undress